Sarr gets it into Cam Boozer. Boozer back to Sarr. Now ahead to Caden Boozer, and UConn got a steal. Caravan for Mullins. Long three. He got it. Oh, he got it. He hit the long three-pointer. The logo with 3/10 of a second left to go. I don't believe it.
Oh, man. How awkward is Easter Sunday lunch at the Boozer House going to be, Cole? In the loss for the Duke Blue Devils, he's got to sit across from his brother Caden, who threw the game away, Cole. I mean, how many times are they going to crack the joke, hey, can you pass the potato? And hope that he doesn't throw it to the other team.
I tell you what, man, it's brutal, right? And, you know, I think there are a lot of people, and this might be shocking. There are a lot of people on this Monday that aren't Duke fans that are heartbroken. It's just one of those heartbreak times. It's equally incredible for UConn. I just think Diesel, I'm in awe. I think one day we'll look back 30 years from now and say, you remember when UConn hit the buzzer beater? To beat Duke?
There's that scene, Joker like hung guy down by his ankle.
Yeah.
And the Joker says, I feel like you and I are destined to do this forever. This is not the first time that Duke and UConn have gone at each other and absolutely gutted one another. It's happened before. It happened all the way back in 1990, Cole, when Duke, Christian Laettner got UConn back in 1990 on a buzzer beater shot. Took it 36 years. They UConn's get Blue Devils back. I mean, look, maybe we're being prisoners of the moment. Maybe we're not. Maybe this is March and April, Cole, but is this the biggest collapse in NCAA tournament history, in the situation, given the teams that were involved, given the fact that Duke on UConn in the first half? And I know in 2005, Louisville came back to beat West Virginia when this one feels absolutely massive. And now 2 years in a row, John Shire's teams have choked the game away that they should have won. Where's people, calling for his job? People were calling for James Franklin's job, saying he can't win the big one. He stinks when the lights are the brightest. Well, John Shire certainly let his team down in that situation. He could have called a timeout. He could have established the situation. Guys, there's 10 seconds on the clock. Just get the ball in bounds and hold it, because either they got to foul you and put you on the line, or the clock runs out. You literally can't get a backcourt violation. Just hold on to the ball.
Well, there were 10 seconds. So the situation, there were 10 seconds on the clock when the ball was inbounded. So exactly 10. You have 10 seconds to get the ball into the front court. So it is very easy, Diesel, for you and I, for all of the media members, all the critics. It's very easy for us to look back now and say, what were they thinking? They should have done this. They should have done that. And I think Seth Greenberg this morning did a really good job of analyzing the play on ESPN. And yes, right now it is super easy for all of us to be critical. Pass was made to the side and there was a fake. So pass was made over the top of two players, right? The two players went up with their hands in the air. If that was a fake and the ball were passed to the side, game would be over. The guy was wide open. I forget who it was on the right wing. Wide open, ball game. However, a bad pass that was tipped, right? And then you saw what happened. The fact of the matter is, when you're in pressure situation to get funnel things like turn and face, catch and face, right? From a basketball standpoint, there's a drill that they run, that high school players run, where they have to inbound it in going against a full court press, and they catch and face. That's what the drill is. So your job is to catch the ball, and before you do anything, you want to face the defender. You want to face the defense. And then clearly in that moment, if you go back and look last night, the little things sometimes, the fundamentals get abandoned in those high-pressure situations. They didn't catch. They didn't face. It was so quick, bam, 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 and all of a sudden your season's done.
You know, I heard some audio earlier today on another radio show where it was Dan Hurley in his post-game press conference.
What's your name?
And they were asking him questions. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And Dan, maybe I'm reading the lines a little bit. Dan almost sounds like he got caught in analysis. He's like, should I do this? Should I do that? The time's up. We just let him take a shot. And it kind of reminded me just a little bit of the Dawn Staley philosophy. You know, the Dawn Staley philosophy, which is I'm going to let my players figure out when they want to call timeout. I'm going to let them run it out there on the court because they're actually playing it. Whereas Dan, was stuck between, well, do we miss a free throw on purpose so that we can get a rebound and a putback to tie the game? What do we do here? What kind of set are we trying to? I don't think they had any timeouts left in that situation when the game was over. I think they were out of timeout, so they couldn't do anything at the time as far as stopping the clock, grouping up, and making a decision. But Dan kind of, he sounds like he's just kind of like, well, I'm just going to let it happen, right? I'm going to let it play out. If we win the ball game, we win the ball game. If we lose the game, we lose the game. I'm glad that he sort of accidentally took the laissez-faire approach, just let it happen, because I hate when we get into end-of-game scenarios and coaches waste a second and a half, 2 seconds calling a timeout when they don't need to. Just let the guys play.
Well, you almost in the situation that we saw last night, and we'll get to the phone lines in just a second. By the way, Tolo's Joy Law Firm text line open as well at 844-326-3663. You almost diesel in those situations if you're UConn. You have to do what you know will work, and that's put pressure on the ball. And when you get into that kind of situation, there's two ways you have to look at it here, offensively and defensively. From a defensive standpoint, you can only control what you can control in that situation. And you're down two. You put pressure on the ball, and what happens? Those things I just talked about. When you are in those tight situations, it doesn't matter if it's Boozer, Cooper Flagg, Zion. Guys tense up in high-pressure situations, and things like the game doesn't slow down to you. Things are happening fast. Two defenders cut across. You're trying to make a good pass, what looks good at the moment, and that's when things go south. So I think, to your point, UConn had a great game plan. It is very easy for us to go back and now say, well, John Shire should have done something. Boozer should have just held the ball, make them foul. And ultimately, yes, they should have just held the ball, and probably Duke or UConn would have fouled. But that's not the way things happen.
No, they didn't. And, Duke went on a great run in that first half, 14-0 run against UConn. That was the largest run UConn had allowed since the Huskies moved up to the Big East 7 years ago. So Duke had that on their hands, and it felt like this thing was headed towards a blowout, second blowout of the day. 19-point first half lead. To quote Michael Jordan, I think they took that personally. I think UConn took personally what Duke did to them in the first half, and they flipped the script. Duke, who'd scored 44 points in the first half, managed just 28 in the second. UConn scored 29 points in the first half, 44 in the second half. So, just a tale of two halves, very different halves of that game.
I'll tell you who I would hate to be today, Diesel. I'd hate to be a Duke fan that was talking trash about another team in their state blowing a 19-point lead not long ago, right? Because that was happening. And by the way, one coach just got fired for blowing a 19-point lead 8 miles down the road.
If only NC State could have held on to Will Wade for another year, they could have made T-shirts and worn them twice.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, 19
for the UNC
points.
series. They could have worn them for the Duke series, but now they got no room to talk trash either because Will Wade's out the door and he is now in Baton Rouge.
I'm telling you, man, it's one of the all-time craziest March moments I've ever experienced. Let's go to the phone lines. They're open, wide open. 844-326-3663. Tallahassee Todd. Diesel, when I picked up the phone, he was just laughing. That's all he was doing. He was just laughing. Tallahassee Todd, what's up, man?
Man, I told you once. I'll tell you twice. I'll tell you 3 times again. We're going to play this game called Family Feud. Name the team. Name that team that put Duke out within 4 seconds. Name the team again that put Duke out in 4 seconds. One is UConn. One is North Carolina. Trump and Mr. Mullins.
Right, what's
Thank you
is
very
North
much.
Carolina still in this, Todd? Come on now. Come on now. You lost the same point lead in the round of 64 to a mid-major, Todd.
Okay. Here's my thing, though. I was kind of hoping we would win, but Duke was a better team than North Carolina. I'm a realist. I don't see the light blue shades.
I like
Duke
that.
is a team without Caleb Wilson, our star. Duke was a better team. Duke knew what was on the line. You cannot sit there and tell me, can no college basketball fan tell me, Duke, North Carolina, whoever you is, Duke knew what was on the line. You can't blow a 19-point lead to UConn. North Carolina should know better. Duke should know better. Duke, you ought to know better. You had the better team. I can give Duke that. You can't not blow a 19-point lead, get cute, and get your foot off the gas. UConn ain't nothing to play with. Ask him Walker. You can nothing for granted. And this is college madness.
It is.
Duke, if you get cute, you will go home. North Carolina got cute. We thought we had BCU. We thought we had it. We in Chapel Hill.
I see, Todd. Hey, hold on 1 second.
Todd, before you take off, your thoughts on Billy Donovan?
Give me somebody. Billy's been out the game for a while. He's a great coach. But I wish we could get like a Jay Wright. Nobody got the money. We got long pockets. We got Mr. North Carolina got come over here for the check. And let's get the basketball. North Carolina will never be no football team. We are a basketball school. Let's get Jordan. Let's get the Howard Rupps. Let's get Jay Wright. Let's get the dude from Arizona. Money talks. Y'all know the rest. Happy. I love y'all, and God bless you, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Todd.
Appreciate the phone call. Something that might be jarring. It's Tallahassee, and I really do, because you'll like this. Diesel, I'm gonna read some names here, okay? And these names, you'll know the names. Our Tolos will know the names. Duke Diesel has 0 NCAAs since 2015. We talked about that last week, right? Can I read you years they've had since 2015? You ready for? I mean, this might be the most jarring thing you hear all day. Since they've won a title last, some of the players they've had: Brandon Ingram, Luke Kennard, Jason, who's maybe one of the best on planet Earth in the NBA, Frank Jackson, Marvin Bagley, Gary Trent, Trayvon Duval, Wendell Carter Jr., Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, Trey Jones, Jalen Johnson, Paolo Banchero, Mark Williams, Derek Lively, Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, Sion James, and Cameron Boozer, all since 2015, Diesel. And let me tell you, those names I just read, not one of them figure out a way to bring home a title. Is that not jarring?
It's unbelievable.
I mean, that is unbelievable. That much talent.
It's unacceptable. Shut the program down, would you?
And look,
Shire's been Halloween.
Shire's been amazing. He's been unbelievably good. But like, how do you explain that? Diesel, that's some of the most talented players in the NBA right now.
It's true.
And the fact that they haven't had a championship since 2015, and you still call yourself a blue blood and still call yourself a dynasty? No.
Well, you know who deserves all the credit? Number one, it's Silas DeMary, and then it's Braylon Mullins, who hadn't hit a three-pointer in the game until that one. He was 35 feet from the bench. He might as well have been in the parking lot, because that one was going in from anywhere. As a matter of fact, after the game, somebody asked Dan Hurley about them missing 17 of their first 18 three-point attempts. He says, "The hell did you just say?"
That's
bad. I kept asking assistant coaches, and no one would tell me how bad it was. I mean, they couldn't hit water from a boat. And then it's 2 massive three-pointers, one from basically the other side of the stadium, that won the game for the UConn Huskies. Mullins said, we were trying to foul the worst free throw shooter on the floor, and Silas ended up deflecting the pass. I knew I had to put one up, man. I'm just happy that one went down tonight.
And we'll have a ton of audio on this later in the show, Diesel. We've got an audio blitz coming up. And, man, some of the audio from last night's game is just – it's incredible. So, look, the fact of the matter is even the greatest programs out there still have to do the little things, Diesel, for the entirety of the game. Even the greatest – that's where we are now in sports, in college athletics especially, okay? You can be Duke. You can be UNC. You can be anybody. But the fact of the matter is you can have all those names I just read off. You've got to be able to play 2 full halves of basketball, Diesel. 2 full halves. And as good as Duke's been, they haven't been able to do it in, 11 years now. And JB says it on the YouTube stream. He says Duke's a great program, a great team, but the facts are the team that took them down yesterday has more national titles than they do. And we all know that Duke's still like a very, very talented. Like, we're not disparaging the program. But, Diesel, when you do read those and you hear those names out loud, it does make you think, what's gone wrong? What's gone wrong? Has the other talent out there been better? You can't say that because Duke's had as good as talent as anybody. But you can't win with Cooper Flagg and Zion Williamson?
You could call it luck. You could call it snake bit. You could call it unprepared for particular situations. You could call it lack of situational awareness. You could call it the yips on the fingers and the feet of the players who are out there on the court. And there's a lot of reasons why these have gone wrong. What went wrong last night or yesterday in that game is simply that Cam Boozer didn't read the defense effectively, didn't realize that he had 2 guys going up in the air and could have just bounced past around him. I mean, at that point, just fling it up like you're shooting the ball because that'll take up the time necessary to get you there.
I'm telling you, man, it is so unbelievable. And you know what we do? We analyze one play. And, yes, it did come down to the last play, but Diesel, you and most of the game might know that it lost the game. Of course, won because it is the play that lost in the game.
Right.
But you said they had a 19-point lead and blew it. So you do have to blame. I think John Shire said it best. We win as a team, we lose as a team. And yes, last night they lost as a team, Diesel. But the fact of the matter is, guess what everybody remembers? What was the last thing you remember? It was the last thing you did. We have the recency bias. We're not going to, 20 years from now, we're not going to remember the 19-point lead they lost. We're going to remember the last play where Boozer could not get the ball into the front court and turned it over with 10 seconds to go and a shot of a lifetime. That's what we'll remember.
Yeah, it's tough. Congratulations to those UConn men. They deserved it. Ooh. They earned it. They had a monstrous comeback. All the plays that got them back from 19 points down, that's what deserves the credit. But you're right. Nobody's going to watch that highlight reel. They're going to watch that play, and that play is going to be replayed and replayed for decades. So long, Cole, that somehow our high-def TV of 2026 will look blurry and awful. I'm telling you. You go back and you watch that Leitner shot, and you think, this looks terrible. How did anybody even watch TV back in the day? Yeah. Well, that's because it was all set up for that format, and it actually looked fairly good at the time, but then you watch it back 25 years later and it looks terrible. Think about that. As good as our high-def TV is now, in 2050, people are going to be saying, oh, that's unwatchable. How did you even stand that?
Y'all had TVs back then?
Yeah, now we just beam it into our foreheads and we just see it with our waking eyes.
Just light. The show question of the day is, if you're not a Duke fan, do you feel bad for Duke today? That's what I want to know from you Tolos out there. Do you? JB's already said, heck no. And they don't feel bad for Duke. Diesel, do you feel bad for Duke a little bit?
Not a bit. I feel bad for me because I had him as my national championship pick.
And me.
I went from tippy tops of our bracket all the way down to the bottom.
Hey, I think a lot of people did, right? A lot of people. But I want to know from you Tolos out there, yes or no, if you're not a fan of Duke, do you feel bad for Duke? Do you feel bad for Boozer? Because that was tough last night. I mean, it was, from the humanity standpoint, you don't like seeing it. You don't. It's just a terrible way to end that basketball game.
Hey, Tolos, coming up at 3:45, we've got our first two matchups in the best fast food fry bracket. We're in the Elite Eight. We're starting from the Elite Eight. And you, Tolos, will get to vote by texting in and hitting up the Twitter page as to which fries are the best in these two matchups. We'll do the first two at 3:45, the second two at 5:45. Tomorrow, we'll do semis and the finals.
We've also got a lot to get into. We'll get into the other Sweet 16 games from the weekend, the Elite Eight games that we missed. Grayson Mann, TigerNet.com. We'll talk about the spring game from this past Saturday, Overreaction Monday. ABS right now is like the best thing in my life. I love ABS. And the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves. Can you believe it? The Atlanta Braves, we'll talk about that. Oh, what a great weekend. What a great weekend for the Braves. Audio Blitz coming up at 6 o'clock as well. A big show. Turn it on. Leave it on. In the very next segment, we look at the coaches who have signed, resigned, and the coaching carousel, the latest college news in college basketball, the coaching news in college basketball, if you will. And what's the latest on North Carolina, who is the new front runner? The new front runner according to Vegas. We'll talk about it next.
in Upstate.
Well, what's the latest coaching news in the college basketball ranks, Diesel? We talked about Duke and their choke job last night. We'll get back into that later in the show, but a lot's happening coaching-wise. Guys resigning, guys signing contracts, extensions, and guys taking new jobs as well, just like one in-state job that you and I talked about last week that it seemed like, man, got filled very quickly. As earlier today, Charleston made it official. Charleston Diesel has hired Akron's John Gross as its next head basketball coach. That means your App State Mountaineers are not losing their coach yet, right?
Good hire. Yeah, I like it. Akron is a really good team this year. They've been really consistent over the past couple of seasons. I understand why he got the job over a Dustin Kearns, because App State has been up and down. They've shown flashes of being really good. Obviously, a big part of that is the level of financial commitment that he is or isn't getting in Boone. So, I think Dustin Kearns still has a little bit to prove. Maybe he's sitting back and saying, good Lord, what do I have to do to get a job out of this place?
Yeah.
Because I'm here. I'm taking them to heights that this program has never been before. They won't give me any money and nobody will hire me. God, I'm stuck in a beautiful place.
Well, now he's been finalist for this Charleston job twice in the last two hiring cycles. For those that do not know, John Gross, good resume. He has been all over the country. He started out at Taylor, which is a small school in Indiana, by the way. From there, went to NC State back in the late 90s. He was there for a few years. Diesel went to Butler as an assistant for a year, was an assistant at Xavier for 3 years. Guess what? After that, went to Ohio State. So he's been around the Ohio area a good bit. He was an assistant at Ohio State for 4 years. He was the head coach at Ohio, the head coach at Illinois, the head coach at Akron, and now the head coach at Charleston. He has an overall record of 377-25. That is a .626 winning percentage, and he has a pretty good amount of tournament appearances. He's been in the NCAA tournament 11 times, Diesel. So this guy is a good coach. He's a winner. He's got it done at different places, and we talked about it last week. Charleston's a good job, especially for what they pay.
Yeah.
Compared to App State,
$1 million bucks,
$1 million
it was the last coach's salary at Charleston. Yeah, I mean, College of Charleston, do they have football at College of Charleston?
No.
So there you go. They have
baseball and basketball.
Baseball and basketball. They got more money to pump into it. It's like Gonzaga, right? You don't have a football team that you got to spend, $37 million on every year. So you just get to pump everything into basketball. It also leads to a very good question. Why is College of Charleston not consistently better in basketball if they don't have to pay for football?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they have the most NIL. I think they have the highest NIL budget in basketball in their entire conference. So it's a good basketball job. I think those two sports, baseball and basketball, I think those are incredible. And Holbrook's done a good job there. I think it's a good play. I mean, we said last week, you live in Charleston too. So, not too bad there. So that's one local piece of news. Diesel, with Will Wade leaving NC State, the latest on the Wolfpack, a team that probably had to wipe their tears off for a few days after losing Will Wade. Justin Gainey expected to be the next head coach of NC State. And guess what? He is one of their own. So NC State's doing what North Carolina's done in the years past. They're going back to the well as Justin Gainey, Tennessee associate head coach, played at NC State Diesel for 4 seasons, expected to become the next head coach. And look, I think that's, a hire that you don't say like it's great, it's horrible, but with NC State, it's almost one of those we'll have to wait and see regardless of who the coach is.
Yeah, he'll get a pretty decent amount of NIL money to spend. Well, we don't know if it'll be more, the same, less than what Will Wade was able to command. I understand why Will Wade was able to get, right? And I would understand why a school would say, well, we're not going to quite give you what we gave Will. Then again, I think that's a terrible strategy, right? You have to give the new coach every possible resource that they can get. It's also do you trust this coach with that amount of cash in their hand, right? Like I'm not going to trust just anybody walking around with $50,000 of my own money. Newsflash, I don't have $50,000, but if I did, there would be certain people that I would put it in their hands, like an experienced courier who knows what to do, knows how to fight off the bad guys if they come after him. But I'm not going to give it to somebody who's brand new. But you kind of have to if you want them to be successful.
You know, when I look at this Justin Gainey hire at NC State, Diesel, I think back to what the AD said last week. You played that audio. You remember the AD was very adamant that they wanted somebody who was loyal to them, who really wanted to be there. And I know Will Wade said multiple times that he wanted to be there. Maybe at the time he did, but I feel like the AD kind of told us in that press conference last week who their next coach was going to be. I don't see it as a surprise, Diesel, when you say, oh, NC State's going to the well to get one of their own guys. Their AD told us that last week. He said, hey, we want somebody who's loyal to us, knows what it takes to win at NC State, knows what NC State's all about. He played at NC State. Gainey did. And let's see, that was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. He was at Elon as an assistant. He was at your alma mater as an assistant for 4 years, Diesel, from 2010 to 2014. He was at Santa Clara, Arizona, Marquette, Tennessee, Tennessee this last stint, and now obviously with him being at NC State. So he's got a great track record. He's been at some big-time schools. I mean, Arizona, is pretty big time. That was the year before they lost to Clemson in the tournament. But I think that's a very interesting move, and we'll see, like you said, with the NIL portion of it. Also, St. Bonnie, it's a team you hear every now and then when it comes to tournament time, finalizing a deal to hire Damien University's Mike McDonald, not the coach of the Seattle Seahawks, Mike McDonald, M-A-C, not M-C, M-A-C Donald.
McDonald.
That's right, Mick McDonald. Diesel has been highly successal in Division II.
You mean McDonald?
Yeah. Yes,
look
I
at
do.
you.
I'm
You're
sorry.
just duck season, wabbit season to yourself. Into saying it wrong.
McDonald.
Yeah.
Coming from D2. Damien University is a D2 school.
Okay.
So St. Bonnie's trusting a Division II guy to lead their program. He was 28-1 this past season at Damien University. So that's some news there. Navy's John Perry has received a long-term contract extension. We talked about Justin Gainey. I think the reaction around Justin Gainey for NC State has been pretty good. Rick Pitino. I think we talked about this a little bit last week. We asked if Rick Pitino was going to maybe hang it up. Could this be it, Diesel, for Rick Pitino? Well, not so fast. As Lee Corso said, Rick Pitino gets a new, big, shiny contract after his St. John's resurgent, Diesel. So Rick Pitino not going anywhere in the near future. 30-7 this past year. We know they lost to a very good Duke team, and he is now 73-year-old Rick Pitino, back-to-back Big East regular season and tournament titles, Diesel. Very, very well-deserved. It's just a matter of time of when he will hang it up, obviously.
Yeah, this contract is an extension through the 29-30 season, which means he'll have another 4 years on his deal. He is going to be receiving $6 million per season through this extension. That'll make him the second highest paid coach in the Big East. He'll be 77 years old by the time this thing is done, Cole. But Rick's showing no signs of slowing down. He's showing no signs of not being able to recruit athletes in this modern era. Paul Maneri, maybe Paul should have called Rick and said, hey, how you still doing it these days? And clearly he's able to coach him up and be successful even in this modern era of college basketball at his age, at a smaller, lower profile school than other Big East schools. Well-deserved for Rick Pitino. I want him around the game for as long as possible because he is just one of the GOATs.
Arizona State's Randy Bennett, Diesel, hiring Cal Baptist head coach Rick Croy as an associate head coach. And speaking of assistants, the news earlier today with Clemson, Brad Brownell has updated his staff heading into the offseason. Brad Brownell has hired Chad Warner, Chris Harriman, and Andre Morgan as assistant coaches for the 2026-2027 season. The program announced on Monday. Again, that's Brad Brownell, Chad Warner, Chris Harriman, and Andre Morgan. Those are the assistants, the three new assistants, because he had some turnover this offseason, did Brad. So interesting there. Diesel, let's look at Furman. I guess it's not like completely safe yet, but maybe, just maybe, we're going to be able to hold on to Bob Ritchie here in the Upstate one more season. No NC State, no Georgia Tech. What do you say?
The big, that's the caliber of job that I would expect Bob Ritchie to leave Furman for. Like he's not going to leave Furman for a Southern Miss. He's not going to leave Furman for he's not going to leave Furman for UAB. He's going to a big time school, and congratulations to him for being able to stack this resume and make it to the point where he's just the no-brainer hire. I wonder, Cole, and again, this is maybe it's a little bit of a shocker to some of our audience. Maybe they've heard this, maybe they haven't heard this. We've had the chance to bring Bob Ritchie on many, many times. He is a phenomenal basketball coach, a great interview when you get him going on the right topic. But, sometimes Cole, he's a little standoffish. So maybe that is contributing in some way. I think schools that use that excuse as a reason not to hire Bob Ritchie are foolish because he is that good of a basketball coach.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on the part of him being that good of a coach. I think he's going to find himself in a very good job very, very soon, but hopefully he can continue to stay right here in Greenville. North Carolina, what's happening there? There was some conversation over the weekend, Diesel. Some odds have moved, and I know Vegas odds don't tell us who the coach is going to be every single time, but when you look at the updated odds to be the next head coach, Billy Donovan's up there, and Billy Donovan kind of shut down a couple days ago to the Chicago Bulls, and we all know that Billy Donovan's a good coach, but the fact that his name's still being brought up and it hadn't been shut down completely is interesting. And again, these Vegas odds, this is not the end-all be-all, but updated odds to be the next head coach, 40% of the odds, Billy Donovan, 25% Tommy Lloyd, 5% Ben McCullum, 4% Dusty May. You have guys in there like Mark Byington as well. Byington, Nate Oates, Jay Wright, Scott Drew, Sean Miller. I think they're in a weird spot right now in the hiring process.
Some of those guys have already flat out turned them down, saying it's not happening.
Yeah.
Now, again, at the moment, we have to take these guys at face value for what they're actually saying. It's possible. Sure, it's possible that Nate Oates had his press conference last week and he said, I'm happy. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not trying to renegotiate my contract with Alabama because I'm really happy with my contract with Alabama. I don't want to leave this place. It's possible that he says, you know what? Maybe I will head to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. But if I'm Billy Donovan, man, I'm looking for any opportunity to get the heck away from this Bulls franchise. They're a stinker. They're 29-45. They're not going to make the playoffs. Why would you want to be around? I know that it's an organization that's steeped in so much history, but it's a little 10 to 12 year block of history of MJ. And then outside of that, they've been buns ever since. Yeah, they had Derrick Rose for a little bit, and he was exciting and interesting, but they were never title contenders on an annual basis. I would get on out of here. Now, maybe when the season is over for the NBA, they got about 2 weeks left or so?
Yeah, not much.
A week and a half left. Maybe we'll hear the Billy Donovan tune change. Maybe it's the back of house. Hey guys, I'm coming. I'm going to come to North Carolina, but I still have to. I don't want to lose my team completely. I don't want to take this big black eye of media coverage, leaving my team with 25 games to go or whatever.
Yeah, I think that, look, Billy Donovan's a good coach, like I said a minute ago. I think Billy Donovan would be a good hire. I don't know that Billy Donovan would be a great hire. I don't know that Billy Donovan would be extraordinarily better than Hubert Davis was. And you may, Tolos, you may disagree with that, but he's a good coach. He's in an organization right now that tanks every year, it feels like. You said it. They're not any good. They hadn't been good in quite some time. He's making $6 million a year, though. That's the question he has to ask himself. Does he want to leave the comfort of where he is to go back into a sport that is requiring a lot more, not work, but a lot more energy in a lot of different areas, Diesel, where you have to recruit, you have to worry about portal, you have to worry about NIL. And in the NBA, guess what?
On the basketball.
He's got a GM that handles all that. And I'm not saying that North Carolina they do, but it's different.
He still has to be involved.
He still has to be much more involved. He's got his roster in the NBA. He can stick to coaching. It's a little bit more principle, if you will, Diesel. I don't know. I don't know what he wants to do. If I was in that position and I was making $6 million, now the flip side is, does he worry about his job? Because they are one of the worst teams in the NBA. So maybe there's a sense of him that thinks, hey, I might not be here long. Now, I don't know that that's true because it's the organization that's tanking, not Billy Donovan. So I don't know that his job would be threatened, but you do have to wonder if he would want to step away and come back and coach at one of the, premier programs in college basketball.
North Carolina's about to get a new AD, right? In their
Bubba's
AD,
stepping into
down.
a different role. Yep.
So this would be really fascinating, Cole, to hire an really national championship winning college basketball coach who's had a spotty tenure in the NBA, who may potentially be on the verge of getting fired by his organization, but he's got a big name, right? He's a splash hire. And the hopes that he could come back into the college game and recreate something that he had back at Florida back in the day. I mean, this is the exact same strategy that they used when they hired Bill Belichick, and that's not going well. But that is the North Carolina way. Spend the money, write a big check, and see if you can buy your way into another title. And we'll see. I don't have high hopes for Billy Donovan coming back to North Carolina. I don't have anything against Billy Donovan. He's a heck of a basketball coach and was amazing at Florida. But times have changed.
They have, and it's been 20 years since they won the back-to-back national champions too, or national championships, if you will. I do think it's similar to Belichick. I guess the good thing about it is, though, if you're North Carolina, like at least the guys had college success before, where Belichick didn't. So I guess you do sleep a little better at night knowing that. But he was still good after those titles. He went and, was coach of the year in 11, 12. They were still very good all the way to 15 when he left. Things got shaky toward the end, but that guy had like over 500 career wins. So
maybe he's just better at communicating with 17 to 21-year-old men rather than dealing with professionals.
Yeah, and it could be. Again, what does he prefer? Like, where does he want to be? And he's been in the NBA now for a good while. Let's see. He went to the Thunder in 2015. He was there for 5 years. He's been in Chicago for 6 years. So Diesel, he's been in the NBA for a minute, over a decade. And a lot of coaches don't last over a decade in the NBA. So he's done something right. Look, he hadn't been close to winning a championship, but the accolades that he has, certainly, like you said, it would be a splash-ish hire. I just don't know how North Carolina fans would perceive it, if they would really be ecstatic about it.
We spent the first segment of the show talking about Duke's choke job, giving up a 19-point lead to UConn. And Keith on the stream, Keith Kellett, who's watching on Facebook, says, better be careful with that tagline, the title of the video, choke job by the Blue Devils. He says, you're going to make a lot of Clemson football fans mad. Keith, if you missed it, and to other Tolos, if you missed anything on the show earlier, you can always go back and find it on the free Odyssey app. You can also find it on the rewind function, which means you can jump right back to the specific segment that you want and pick it up whenever, wherever. When we come back, Cole, it is time to jump into our bracket, our meaningful bracket that I know the Tolos are going to light up the voting booths on this one. We're going for best fast food French fry, starting with the Elite Eight. And our matchups, Cole, we'll have the 3-6 and the 4-5 matchups coming up next. The polling is also going live right now at the Fan Upstate on Twitter. We'll jump into that next on the Fan Upstate. are not French at all. Did you know that?
I think I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, they're not freedom fries either, though that's what we call them here in the States. French fries originated in the late 1600s, Cole, and just the staggering amount that we as Americans eat of French fries on a daily basis. Think about it like this. Just about every single fast food restaurant in America serves an order of French fries with almost every single meal. I mean, nobody's ordering the fruit cup. Get out of here. Nobody's doing that. You might change it up every now and again, but everybody is eating French fries on a daily basis. We here, Cole, on this show, we're going to get to the bottom of the very best, America's favorite, or at least the upstate's favorite, fast food French fry. And we're going to start with just 8 because there are 8 categories of French fries. And if there were categories, Cole, where a couple of different restaurants serve a similar style of French fry, we got to the bottom of that last week, and the Tolos nominated a champion for each style of French fry. So on the show right here, right now, Tolos at 844-326-3663. This is the 3-6 matchup. And again, you Tolos chose the champion for the number 6 seed here. Your choice, the best fast food French fry. Is it the Bojangles seasoned Cajun, essentially steak fry, versus the Zaxby's crinkle cut fry? And you could text in Bojangles, you could text in Zaxby's, you could text seasoned Cajun, you could text in crinkle cut, whatever you want to do. Just get those votes to us at 844-326-3663. But think about this, Cole, that Bojangles seasoned Cajun fry. When they lay that seasoning to it, it cannot be beat. Like fresh out of the fryer, crispy, the flavors kind of hit your mouth. I don't know if it can be beat. This might be my favorite one.
It can. The Zaxby's crinkle cut fries better.
Better? What? Yeah. No way. It's plain.
No, they got
plain
good seasoning at Zaxby's. Good
salt.
No, they have the I don't know if it's Cajun, but they have a little seasoned salt. Seasoned salt. My vote is for the crinkle cut fry over the Bojangles. I like the Bojangles though. But
interesting.
We're splitting hairs here.
Tolos, get those votes into us. 844 fan phone. You can also vote on the poll on Twitter. I do like Zaxby's French fries. And when they're tip top, they're almost as good, but they're not as good as a Bojangles French fry. Not. I
like both. I want both now.
Not in this world, and you can't have either because you're losing weight. You're eating healthy these days.
It's hard, isn't it?
When's your cheat day?
Usually it's on Fridays.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So on Friday, are you going to go get the winner of this challenge?
I could.
There you go.
Could be a good idea.
There you go. Tolos 844 fan phone. Text in Bojangles seasoned fry or the Zaxby's crinkle cut fry. That's the 3-6 matchup. And in the 4-5, Cole, we're going to hit that one as well in this segment. And again, you can vote on these at the Fan Upstate on Twitter. The Five Guys hand cut fry. That's where they put the potato on a little cutter and they mash down the plunger and it spits them all out. Some of them have that little bit of potato skin on the ends. It's so good. And Five Guys is maybe the GOAT of this category of French fries versus curly fries as represented, the champion of Arby's. The Arby's curly fry versus the Five Guys hand cut fries. Tolos, you tell us which one's your favorite.
Pretty easy for me here. I like the curly fry a lot, but the hand cut fries it's hard to beat.
Walking away.
Hard to beat.
Walking away.
I just wonder if we'll even have any votes for old curly fry, Old curly. Old Mo and curly. I don't
the text line right now, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 votes for Bojangles, 1 vote for Zaxby's. Nobody, I mean, it's overwhelming. The fact that Bojangles is killing this thing on the text line. Texter says Five Guys got bashed over the weekend. By whom? A texter bashed over the weekend because they reduced how many fries they give out. I mean, you know what it is. If you've been to a Five Guys,
they usually dump them in there.
They give you the cup, which is the size fry that you ordered, and then they dump in more on top of it in the bag.
Love that.
It's amazing. It's way too much, but none of it ever goes to not in my bag of food. But Five Guys versus Arby's, the Five Guys hand cut fries versus the Arby's curly fries. Which one is best, Tolos? 844-326-3663.
I bet Arby's doesn't even get a vote. I bet they don't even get a vote. Let's see. We'll see during the break. I might be wrong.
It was Corn Chip that was adamant that curly fries had to even go in this thing.
Yeah, I get it. They're good. They're good. They're just not as good as handcuff fries. On the other side, we're going to get the TA who wants to talk about Billy Donovan. We also are going to dive into the Sweet 16, the Elite 8 that happened over the weekend. What else did we miss? We've talked about Duke. We'll get the TA and your thoughts on that next. you to overreact 1 hour from now. Diesel and I have some overreactions as well. We'll get to them at 5 p.m. and your thoughts on what happened this weekend. But first, let's go to the phone lines. We're going to dive into college basketball, Sweet 16, Elite 8. What did we miss over the weekend? The biggest takeaways, but TA in Spartanburg's been holding for about 15 minutes now, and apologize for the long wait, TA, but we are coming to you now. What's your thoughts? What are your thoughts, rather, on the Billy Donovan situation? I think that's what you wanted to comment on, with him being maybe a front runner for the North Carolina job.
Well, just one moment. You brought up some of my favorite things to eat, French fries, and I got to chime in.
Okay, go ahead.
About that. Now, you guys, I think, are going about it a little bit wrong, because French fries, to me, are determined upon the entree.
Ooh.
So give me, I'm crossing the lines here a little bit, but give me some fresh, crinkled, seasoned fries. Curly, I'm sorry, not curly. I say crinkled. I meant curly
fry.
Seasoned fries in a box of 3 chicken niblets from Zaxby's.
There you go.
think the fry has to match the food that it's going
Well,
with.
you can't get that at a Zaxby's.
I know.
You gotta go to an
Mix and
Arby's
match.
first,
Yep.
and then walk in with your own French fries, which is going to get you thrown out of the building.
Go to the drive-thru.
Well,
Hit the drive-thru.
Here's what I do. I go get either chicken fingers or some niblets. Then I go by A&M's and I get the cut up potato wedges. That's enough about that.
Oh,
But that's what I do. I think the fries complement the food.
well, that's fine. You can have that opinion, but what's your votes in our matchups, which are the Bojangles seasoned fries versus the Zaxby's crinkle cut fries?
I'll take the freshly made Bojangles.
Good choice.
Fries.
And
Number one.
in the 4-5 matchup, the Five Guys hand cut fries versus the Arby's curly fries. And remember, these were all chosen by the listeners to represent the style of fries.
And that's fine. And I'll take the Arby's curly fries.
Okay.
Really?
Wow.
Interesting. That one's closer than I thought it would be.
And Friday night, this not on the bracket, Diesel TA, but I am a big fan of some good sweet potato fries. Love them.
Yeah.
Can't get those at fast food restaurants.
No, you got to be sit down restaurant.
Nobody sells them.
Yeah, sit down.
Those are great. But
they are good.
Who said Connecticut was going to win the national title last week?
Did you say it, TA? Did you say it?
Said it. TA said it. But I'll let that go for now. Now, let's talk North Carolina, the job. And good luck to Dawn Staley and the Lady Gamecocks. I've got favorite teams in girls basketball, men's basketball, college baseball, just all across the board, and they're everywhere. So my favorite men's college basketball team is the North Carolina Tar Heels. And I think Billy Donovan, with his former experience at the college level and success, and like you guys mentioned, it's hard to stay in the league for consecutive years.
It is.
As the head coach with no noise, like no Donovan around his job, really. There's been no noise about, let's just really, I know he's from the Oklahoma to the Bulls, but there was no year break or anything. I like Billy Donovan coaching my kids at North Carolina, and there is no more lineage. They talk about they got to step away from the lineage at North Carolina. There's no one left. Who are you going to get? Rasheed Wallace, Jerry Stackhouse, Montross? I mean, there's no one left. Roy Williams was, to me, and Hubert Davis, that was it. And I thought Hubert Davis was a stretch, although he was successful.
TA, how much more of an upgrade do you think Billy Donovan is over Hubert Davis?
I think that Hubert Davis is so blinded, just like Roy Williams. But Roy Williams under Dean Smith, and I can't remember how much experience Hubert Davis, if any, had with Dean Smith. He may have. It might have been all Roy Williams. But I just think Billy Donovan can relate to these young kids. He's done it once, proved he was successful. And what are NBA players? They're basically, so you're essentially coaching in the beginning, college juniors, seniors, sophomores in some cases. And I just like Billy Donovan's style. He's not a noisy guy. I think he's a great recruiter. I think he can sit down at Mama's kitchen table and create a great conversation and convince you with North Carolina's history and national titles and all the Final Fours that, by the way, Duke was unable to tie North Carolina for the most Final Fours in the history of college basketball.
You know,
North Carolina 25, Duke 24 still.
TA, how is it possible? How is it possible that Roy Williams was at North Carolina for 18 seasons, won 485 games, won 3 national championships, and his coaching tree is this bare? How is that possible? Like, I know you had a couple of names that have gone into coaching but have not had the success and been able to use North Carolina as a launching pad. Not like Roy was only there for 3 years, won 3 titles. Yeah. He was there. He was there long enough for a baby who was born his first vote by last season.
It's very simple. His name's Bill Self. He's at Kansas. When he left, when Roy Williams left, I mean, he was unable to create it, which is what I started with. Yeah. You're going to get, just the players moved on to be players. They just weren't coaching style players. I mean, they just weren't. And he was at Kansas for so long, and then Bill Self has been there for so long. The opportunity people that move around and take different jobs, they just weren't there. And that's why I think that there's not a Roy Williams coaching tree.
Yeah, that's a good point. TA, thanks for the call, man. As always, great stuff. I think he's right. That coaching tree, sometimes Diesel is former players, sometimes is former coaches, and there's not a huge tree there. So I think Billy Donovan's interesting. You mentioned it last week. I think it is very similar. North Carolina fans won't admit this, but it is very similar to what you said in Penn State, kind of not finding themselves up the creek without a paddle, because I think Penn State got a good coach. I think Matt Campbell's going to be fine. But I think North Carolina's kind of in a spot now where, like I said last week, all the other really good coaches are really successful right now. Yeah. So it's hard to pull some of them away to your school.
And we're in an era where apparently the schools that have been developmental schools for their coaches are now willing to spend that money to hang on to them, right? I mean, it used to be there's no way that a Vanderbilt's going to hang on to a coach if North Carolina wants him. There's no way that Alabama's going to hold on to a coach if North Carolina wants him. That just wasn't going to happen. And it turns out that now as this field has been leveled, anybody can spend the IL money. It's schools are willing to spend what it takes to hang on because they realize the value that they have.
Yeah. Diesel, Thursday and Friday on the show, we predicted what would happen Thursday night and Friday night. Now, Friday, you and I broke down what happened Thursday night. Obviously, we weren't on the air Saturday, so we hadn't had a chance to get to what happened Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, other than the Duke game. We talked about Duke in the first segment of the show. They had a 5-point win over St. John's Friday night. A very good basketball game, and I think it was like a 5.5 point set, something like that. St. John's has shown, Diesel, 2 years in a row under Pitino that they can compete with the best of the best. Duke was the better team. I think Rick Pitino is now trying to figure out what he has to get over the hump from not just the Sweet 16, but being able to beat the elite teams out there. That was an incredible game. If you look at what other games happened Friday night, one game not so close in Michigan, Bama, and then you also had UConn, Michigan State, phenomenal game, 4-point game, and Tennessee, Iowa State, not close, 76-62. Two close games, two games that weren't really that close on Friday, Diesel. Which one of them surprised you, stood out to you the most?
I think on Friday it's the Michigan-Alabama game. I assumed Michigan was going to win this game, and they did. They won it by 13. I thought Alabama's shooting was going to be able to keep them a little bit closer. Like I just thought they had enough dudes on that team to keep it close enough, right? I thought that they would be able to do it, and they clearly did not. Now, in that particular game, LeBaron Philon had 35 points in 39 minutes. I mean, he was phenomenal. But one guy by himself can't do it. Latrell Wrightsell off the starting lineup had 15 points. Aiden Sherrill had 10 points. Nobody outside of that scored 10 points in the game for Alabama. I mean, I don't know if this was a little bit of LeBaron Philon thought, okay, I got to go be the star and not distribute the ball very well. I mean, he was hot. He was white hot, but still, I would expect a team like that to run just a little bit more.
Wesley Roberts on the Facebook stream. Hadn't seen Wesley in a while. Good to hear from you. You know, much like Michigan can just play in style. They can play you however you want to play. And I think that's what makes them so dangerous. 34-3 now. It just feels like they score 90+ a night, right? Oh, and by the way, you talked about one-man show for Bama. Here's the difference. Alabama shot 36% from the field on Friday night. Michigan, who scored 90 points, by the way, Diesel, shot 50%. So lopsided shooting percentages. Obviously, when you're playing in a Sweet 16 game and you're shooting 36, opponent shooting 50, you're not going to win. Bama is a good team. They have a good offense. But what I think makes the likes of Michigan and Arizona so deadly is the consistency.
Yeah.
The consistency in which they're able to play and shoot at such a high level, because you have seen it, we've all seen it in sports. Teams go cold at some point. It just doesn't feel like Michigan or Arizona is ever going to go cold this year.
Well, Alabama shot 47 3 in that game. 47. Think about that. They shot here. I'm bad at the math here. They shot 106 shots to Michigan's roughly 95. I mean, they had more possessions, more opportunities. Michigan was just efficient. They were just hitting shots.
So good, man.
And they were so good. 50% from the field, 48% from three. Again, they took 27 to Alabama's 47. And it begs the question, if you're not hitting your threes, why do you keep shooting them? You know, wait until you get hot. Hit that 12-footer, that 15-footer, then back it up to the line and see if you can hit from out there. But maybe, I didn't get a chance to watch that particular game, but maybe Michigan was playing such good interior defense that they didn't let Alabama get down low.
If you're going to miss that many threes, you better have a plan to rebound, and you got out-rebounded by 14 on Friday night against Michigan. So Michigan just looks like they're on another level. 90-77 over Alabama. Again, Duke Friday, 80-75 over St. John's. UConn 67-63 over Michigan State, a very good game there. And Tennessee 76-62 over Iowa State. You fast forward to Saturday, Diesel. When you look at the Elite Eight, Saturday game, talked a lot about Duke and what happened on Sunday. But going into Saturday, saw the matchup with Arizona-Purdue. We thought, oh, man, maybe Purdue slow Arizona down a little bit. And they did in the first half. Arizona was a first half favorite by 2.5 points. Purdue actually led 38-31 at the halftime break. So at the halftime, I'm sitting there Saturday night thinking, oh, man, the Boilermakers might have a shot to lead them off. But then guess what happened? Arizona woke up. The Arizona we've known all year, right? 36-2. They woke up and they shot the lights out, above 50% in the second half, Diesel. That'll get it done. And then the late game that night, the early game, Illinois, Iowa, 71-59. Ben McCullum, what a run the Hawkeyes had, Diesel. It was an incredible run in the postseason, but they ran into a very good Illinois basketball team. So Illinois, Arizona, both victorious. Either one of those surprised you?
I mean, Arizona, the fact that they, it kind of goes back to what I was saying with the Alabama-Michigan game, the fact that they didn't shoot the ball that times, only put up 73 shots in the game and somehow won by 15. I mean, it's absurd. The fact that they were just not missing shots, and Purdue, to their credit, they got a lot of rebounds, 36 rebounds. They got second opportunities, but they weren't able to get Arizona defense. I mean, you go into that locker room and you're thinking, man, how is this possible? We're the 1 seed. We're blowing the doors off of everybody, and Purdue's up 7, and then they found a way to clamp down in the second half defensively and not let Purdue score.
We talked about the Duke game on Sunday. We'll touch on that a little bit later in the show, Diesel. But the other game yesterday, oh, my God, Michigan just, again, going back to what we just said, they're just so consistent. That's what makes them just so dangerous. Tennessee, a really good team. You thought, oh, maybe Tennessee is the team can give Michigan a run. First half, 48-26. At the halftime, body pretty much, yeah, well, this one's a wrap yesterday, right? They outscored them 47-36 in the second half. 95-62 final score. Michigan is so consistent. That's what makes them so hard to defend. That's what makes them so potent offensively. They score 90 in the Sweet 16, Diesel. They score 95 in the Elite 8. How many will they score in the Final Four? I don't know, but it looks like Michigan and Arizona are just on a collision course, and they are, obviously, because we'll see the 2 games on Saturday and then obviously the national championship on Monday. There are 2 other teams that are really good left, but it just feels like Michigan and Arizona are almost batting 500 while everybody else is batting like 385.
And this tournament does what this tournament does. It weeds out the teams that don't really belong. They're not consistently able to do it on a night in, night out basis, and the ones who can't recover. There's something to the team that can go out there and give you 40, 45 points in both halves of a basketball game. That's phenomenal. But also, can you be the kind of team that's down 6 or 7 at half, say Arizona was, and just turn it on in the second half and absolutely blow the doors off of them in the second half? That's where coaching gets a tremendous amount of credit. That's where these players, their ability to lock in from what may have been a little bit of to lock in and take over a game in the second half. All those very impressive traits, and we'll see ultimately which one prevails.
We've got Grayson Mann coming up here in just a minute, Diesel, but quick thoughts. We'll get to these later in the week. Saturday, Illinois, UConn, Michigan, Arizona. Michigan, Arizona, the collision course. I was just talking about that team at 8:49 Saturday. Those 2 both feel big time. A 2.5-point spread with Illinois, UConn, and only a 1.5-point spread. I don't know. These are both coin flips. That's what it feels like to me, Diesel. Coin flip games for both of these games on Saturday in the Final Four.
And we've got a bunch of Tolos who took Arizona as their national championship pick. Not that many took Michigan as their championship pick. Of course, though, all of us who took Duke, we are officially done.
We're done
in this thing.
That stinks, man.
When we come back, let's talk Clemson football. They had their spring game over the weekend. Cole, you were there. I wasn't able to be. Grayson Mann of TigerNet going to join us next to chat about that, to chat about baseball and a little bit of basketball as well. That's that. Ball was back for a weekend, the spring game, as they do every single year for Clemson, the orange and white game. Our guest right now was at the spring game, Grayson Mann of TigerNet.com. Cole Bryson was there as well. It's hard, Grayson, to know what to take out of spring games for fans. It's an opportunity to remind themselves all the things you got to bring out for a tailgate. Can't forget the rib, the cider fluid, or the can of propane or whatever. But these games are scripted, they're controlled. So, what do you look for every single year? Is it something that from years of doing this?
Yeah, these spring games, they become more bogged down, a little bit more vanilla than maybe in years past. But ultimately, what you look for in this one is, how does the offense look? What's the quarterback battle going to look like? And I think we got further clarity. And one of Sweeney's more fascinating comments was surrounding the battle of that this is a 2-horse race between between Vizina and Tate Reynolds, and that the rest haven't really came close, frankly. And with that comes Chris Denson, who Sweeney straight up said he might want to think about some things here and make a position change, which I felt was pretty eye-opening, given the state of where his hype was. And I know it was Furman, but ultimately, I think you left this spring with a little bit more clarity as to who could be your starting quarterback here in the fall.
Hey, Grayson, unfortunately, we're having some internet issues, having you drop out just a little bit. Let's do this. Let's call you on the phone so we can have a little more stable of a connection. So we're gonna kick him out of the live stream, and we're gonna call Grayson Mann. So apologies for that, Tolos. Internet issues are what they are. I had some at my house over the weekend. We had some here in the studios on Friday. So sometimes, the internet connection is just not as stable as you'd want it to be. And we'll be joined again by Grayson Mann here momentarily as we're calling him up on the phone lines. He was at Clemson spring game, the orange and white game. And he was telling us there, Grayson, and sorry to make you have to repeat yourself, but you were saying, the quarterback battle got just a little bit clearer. What else were you saying about what was you were looking for at the spring game?
Yeah, along with the quarterback clarity, I think you wanted to see what this offense looked like and just sort of the operational standpoint with Chad Morris. And one of the things that I feel like we're going to take away from this is Morris isn't going to be afraid to use the tight ends. I think Bentanger had more targets in that first half alone than a lot of those games in 2025. And then Gideon Davidson, the tailback for Clemson, really felt like he came out with the spring with a little bit more burst and a little bit more patience in between the tackles. And so you left impressed with a few younger pieces, Gordon Sellers being one of those. But overall, sometimes you go into the spring game with not much to offer or not much to look at. And I think for Clemson this year, it was quite the opposite.
Grayson, it's funny, to your point there, during the course of the spring game and after, everybody had their own opinions of what they were looking at, what stood out to them. But after Dabo spoke to the media, the biggest story of the day became Chris Denson. And Dabo pretty much said in the media availability afterwards that Chris Denson, he didn't say he was encouraged to switch positions, but you certainly would maybe would infer that he's been encouraged by a coach or two that switching positions might be best. Your thoughts on what Dabo said there, and when you look at the quarterback battle with Tate Reynolds now at QB2, do you think Chris Denson will switch positions, or do you think he'll stick it out?
Yeah, I think that you're right on the money there. I don't think Dabo goes and says that to us, Cole, if that conversation hasn't already been had, or at least approached just a little bit, where you at least introduce the idea late in the spring. And I think Sweeney had made it very clear that the rotation at quarterback, that was the depth chart. And so you had Vizina as the one, Tate Reynolds as the two, and you saw Reynolds trying to get work in with the starting as well. So you had it make it very clear heading into fall camp that this is the 2-horse race. And so I think Denson is a very talented athlete, but clearly it looks like the staff hasn't been very pleased with how he's progressed as a passer. And so they had to make a decision. And so it's down to 2. If I had to put my money somewhere, I'm sure it would be Vizina to start against Baton Rouge. But I think it was pretty significant that Sweeney also didn't close the door on Reynolds being your starting quarterback. And it sounds like he's really impressed this staff this spring.
Grayson, this defense is going to lose two big pieces, especially off the line, with Woods and Parker both going to the NFL. What did you see, your assessment there of the defensive line, what stood out about them without those two talented guys? I mean, we know that the defense wasn't phenomenal last year, and is it possible that it's a little bit of addition by subtraction of two really elite pieces?
I think you're right on the money there, Diesel. And Tom Allen's made it very clear this spring that he feels like, at least in the secondary, there's a lot more talent to work with. So in terms of coverage, just disguise, scheme, what have you, he feels like he can run a little bit more. And this is where the spring game is tricky, because I think with the quarterbacks, with the freshmen in Reynolds and Vizina, you're able to kind of tell where they're at and how much trust they have in the offense. And so when you have Vic Burley, London Merritt, and Will Helt going up against basically what was the starting freshman five for the white team on Saturday, you don't really come away with the most clear, I think, conclusion. I felt that bad for poor Brock Bradley because he pulls off on an RPO and Will Helt is right there in his face. It's certainly welcome to Clemson moment for that kid. And so you have a defense that I think looked a little bit better, but we really have to just kind of take it with a grain of salt on Saturday and really, I think, stick with the quotes and the sound bites we've gotten from Coach Allen and Dabo Sweeney here this spring.
Grayson, jumping right back to the quarterback for a second, you mentioned it there with one of the coaches, two of the coaches, maybe more, already having conversations with Chris Denson. Do you think the social media, the camp of Clemson fans that are upset that for whatever reason, and I've seen this, and I'm sure you have as well, for what reason thought Chris Denson was the future, do you think that group of fans, do you think they were just misinformed about Tate Reynolds, or do you think they saw something legitimately in Chris Denson that they felt like could maybe reciprocate what they saw from Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I think last year it's tough because you had such a year filled with so much struggle at the position, and your quarterback in Cade Klubnik ultimately disappointed to a large degree. So when you have this guy sitting in the wings, you've heard plenty of hype about his athleticism, and I think it's tough to forget that what happened with Denson and where this hype originated was against Furman, and basically what came down to three tribes. So I think I'd even sort of into that as well. I think programs, it wouldn't have shocked me if programs took a look at him this offseason and said, yeah, we could maybe turn something into that and throw a pretty serious bag at the kid, but ultimately he chooses to stay at Clemson. I don't think it was a misinformation type thing on Tate Reynolds. I think they saw something promising and you held on to that season where there wasn't much of it. So I think the Saturday was really more of just a harsher reality of where Denson really stood as a passer. I think that's what always has held him back. And it doesn't sound like he made the progress he needed to this spring.
Well, whether it's Vizina, Reynolds, whoever it might be, either way, it's essentially a rookie quarterback starting for the Clemson Tigers on the road in Baton Rouge, guys that haven't taken a whole lot of snaps in key situations. How good do you think this offensive line could stack up to be? Because, again, regardless of who's taking those snaps, they're going to need a little extra time in the pocket until the game slows down for them.
Yeah, I think that the way that I would describe it, and this is just someone who has seen a little bit more practice than I have, is young but promising. It's a lot of younger pieces, Bray Jacobs, Easton Ware, Harris Sewell trying out a new spot at center, who has been the anchor of this offensive line, according to Chad Morris. And you have a couple other pieces in there as well that you could fit in. And then this freshman five that you could potentially plug and play with depending on injury. So I think when you pair young offensive line and inexperienced quarterback, there's going to be some growing pains. And so certainly, as Sweeney had said, they're not playing a community college week one. They're playing LSU and Lane Kiffin. So it does present a less than ideal recipe heading into Baton Rouge to open up the season. So I do think this offensive line won't be the Achilles heel of this offense. Ultimately, I think Chad Morris is going to get the ball out quick. He's going to try to run the ball and create a balance. So I do think he's going to try to cater to this team's strengths and not try to overwhelm a group that could be a little bit on the inexperienced side heading into that first season game.
Grayson Mann, TigerNet.com, joining us right here on the Fan Upstate on the phone lines. Had him on the stream, but had some internet issues. Sorry about that, Grayson. Let me ask you offensively. You mentioned Chad Morris there. When it comes to offensive depth chart, as well as the quarterback, and the quarterback being the big one, how much leeway do you think Dabo's giving Chad in terms of decision-making on who gets the starts? Who's named QB1? Who's named, RB1? Offensive, obviously Matt Luke and others have say on the offensive line, but especially with quarterback and other key offensive positions, how much input do you think Dabo will have in Chad Morris's ear when it comes to entering summer ball and who's going to be the starter in a certain, some of these very key positions going into the summer?
I go back to a quote. I don't remember when it was specifically. It was either October or November, Cole, where Sweeney had talked about sort of trusting his instincts more when it came to building the foundation. He was using a house analogy when talking about this. And I truly meant it. I really feel like now he was referring to making a hire like Chad Morris that felt comfortable, somebody he trusted. So I don't believe you bring in someone like Morris back into the fray for him to kind of just be a listening ear. You bring someone in who can be that differing voice and give you that type of opinion. Ultimately, I do feel like it falls onto Coach Sweeney and him, his decision alone. He'll have the final say. But I do think Chad Morris is somebody who comes in with a commanding voice. He was there with Dabo Sweeney before Clemson was Clemson. And so you have that relationship there to where I think you can have a little bit of a difference of opinion and sort of a stronger dynamic there than what you maybe had previously, where it was sort of an unknown what the marriage between Garrett Riley and Dabo Sweeney would be. We've seen this relationship already, and I think the two bounce off each other very well. So ultimately, it's going to be Sweeney's call, but I don't think Morris is just there to kind of be a listening ear. I think he's going to have a strong, commanding voice in the room when those type of decisions will be made, especially at quarterback.
Grayson, talking to Grayson Mann of TigerNet.com, I was listening to sports radio earlier today, and they were talking about the Celtics and referring to this season for the Celtics as a gap year. Nobody really expected a lot out of them, but it turns out that this gap year has gone really well for them. So looking now at the 2026 football season with a young offensive line, a fairly young defense, a fairly young receiving core, and a brand new first-year starter for the Clemson Tigers, would you be surprised if this year, would you rather characterize this year as a gap year for the Clemson Tigers, or are there expectations that they could, make another push for an ACC title or a college football playoff bid?
You really know how to butter up your guests when you bring up the Celtics, man. I'm already over here.
I think I remembered you're a fan.
I don't bring it up from time to time, so it's kind of surprising. But I think this is an interesting year for Clemson. Looking before the 2025 season became what it was, I think that everyone circled this year as sort of I think gap year is probably the right way to phrase it. And it comes with a different connotation now just because of what last year was for Clemson, where you felt like that was the year for that group to potentially make a run at the college football playoff, if not maybe a national championship. And then you sort of pick up the pieces with 2026 and move from there. It feels a little bit different now, where I've always used the word rebuild, and I don't think I mean that in a negative context, where this is a 4-13 team in the NFL getting the first pick in the draft. I think it's got a lot of promising pieces heading into this year. It's just going to come down to the quarterback. It really is. And I think with Vizina or Reynolds, you're going to have your share of growing pains, and that could translate in 4 losses. That could translate in 3 losses. I think what fans will be looking for this year is just a little bit more operational, I would say, consistency. And so gap year might be the right word, but that was probably before 2025 became what it was. And let's say if they had made the playoffs last year and they're 11-2, you're in the semifinal, something like that, and then you have maybe an 8-4 year, and that's the gap year before returning to form. But Clemson's kind of been what they were for the last few years. So will this be a continuance of that, or do they surprise us? I think we'll find out probably pretty soon into that season.
And it's still early, Grayson, obviously just now March going into April. But to play devil's advocate, to just bust the narrative that you just said, because last year's narrative was busted with a team that pretty much everybody thought was going to make a deep playoff run. What if it's not just about the quarterback? What if the quarterback this year has a better offensive line, has a better running game, has a healthier trio of wide receivers around him, has a better defense, has a better secondary? And what if it's not about the quarterback for Clemson in 2026, where it's very simple as, hey, the pieces around the quarterback are better?
I think that's totally fair. And I think that could be a setup to where it's going to be a make or break with the QB, in the sense where I do think this team has a lot of talented pieces, especially the ones they brought in from the transfer portal. Corey Myrick, Jerome Carter. I think the freshmen that you brought in, Gordon Sellers, Polo Anderson, I think those kids can play. It's just going to be a matter of, do you have a guy in Vizina that can take you and elevate? Do we have a quarterback on this roster that can do that? I think that's the question that's going to be asked from the fan base this summer. And so I could see a world where, let's say the quarterback plays above average. This team could be pretty freaking good. It's just a matter of where Reynolds or Vizina is when we get to that. And maybe it doesn't matter where the quarterback is. They could still lose to LSU and have a great season. I think that it's just going to be – quarterback's going to be the main focus for the next several months, and I think rightfully so, given the first true battle that Clemson's had in a few years.
Grayson, a follow-up to that, a March 30th going into April prediction. I know you're probably leaning Vizina starts the season. Who finishes the season at quarterback? What's your March, April prediction on that?
I think I'm going to lean with Tate Reynolds. He's going to be starting probably by October, if I had to guess. I think that given where Vizina is, a 3-year college quarterback entering year 4, just all the expectations surrounding it, I think the fact that a freshman has kind of come in and matched that and made a push for the starting job is significant. Now, I don't think Sweeney opts to start Reynolds in Baton Rouge, but I do think he's going to show the fan base enough to where he's going to push Vizina and eventually take over, as this team's starting quarterback.
Grayson, is this baseball team ever going to win an ACC series?
That's a fair question.
Rough weekend for them. Miami took 2 of 3 in that series. Midweek against Wake Forest. Oh, guess what? No days off for these Clemson Tigers. Then they fly out west, play a 3-game series at Stanford and 1 on the road at Santa Clara. I mean, at this point, how much higher can we throw our hands up and ask the question, what's going wrong with this team?
Yeah, it feels like it's starting to become a recurring bit for our segment here, guys. It's troubling with this baseball team, and it feels like all of the backage stuff that you associate with his groups of the past, you just haven't seen it, whether it's the routine plays on defense. Sometimes they're getting picked off more than they should when it comes to the base running. It just a lot of these smaller things that are amplified when the team isn't very talented. And I think that's kind of the ugly truth that started to be revealed behind the scenes that's suddenly risen up when these losses are beginning to pile up. And Backett certainly vows to change it, but it certainly has been an interesting year and gives me pause. And you want to be able to correct your mistakes. I'm not sure a trip out west is which is just been haunting for a lot of these ACC teams, regardless of the sport. It certainly is going to be a tall task with 4 games on the road, 5 with Santa Clara as well. You got a long trip away from home. Does that help them? Maybe. I'm not too sure.
Grayson, you're the best. Sorry for the internet issues earlier on the stream. We'll fix them immediately, right? That's what good hosts say. We'll have them fixed within the hour. Always appreciate you. You're the best. We'll talk to you next week.
I could be coming in on ham radio, and you guys would still be great hosts. So keep doing what you're doing.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. GraysonManTigerNet.com. Always a lot of fun. And, I think Grayson said it there, Diesel, with the Clemson baseball team at some point in the season. And I don't know when that is. I think it's maybe here or close. You are who you are, and I just don't think this Clemson baseball team's good. I just don't think they are.
Cole, now this is a little bit aging myself. It's also asking you an important question that's kind of a rite of passage. Did you ever get on a CB radio and mess with truckers?
Yeah, yeah. I had a CB radio in one of my trucks at one time.
Do you have a handle for your CB?
No. It should have been CB. Should have been CB, right?
Ah, okay. I sometimes I get on there and go by Loudmouth.
Oh, yeah.
Loudmouth.
Yeah.
I got one in my Jeep.
Yeah, I used to have one. I used to.
CBs are fun. Nobody uses them anymore. That's what stinks. No, you try to talk to the trucker in front of you. You got to even have one on.
No, it doesn't have them. They don't put them in trucks anymore. They just don't. Diesel, we've got to get to our top sports headlines from over the weekend. Our Daily Wires next. A lot to get to, and I mean a lot that happened over the weekend, Diesel, a segment we call Our Daily Wires. The most important thing, 15 minutes-ish from right now, it's Overreaction Monday. You and I will have a few overreactions. That's what you do at 5 o'clock on Monday. You overreact. Whatever you say might not make a lot of sense, but that's why it's called an overreaction. Phone lines will be open in 12 minutes from right now at 844-326-3663. You have a good one brewing today, Diesel?
I do. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
After wins from Michigan and UConn yesterday, the Final Four is set. Illinois will play UConn on Saturday at 6:09 to be specific, while Michigan will play Arizona Saturday at 8:49.5 p.m. The national championship 1 week from today, and college basketball will be just like that over. How sad.
That is sad.
What an opening weekend for those Atlanta Braves. I couldn't stop smiling all weekend. I didn't care that the Braves lost yesterday. It was the best weekend I've had in a long time because the Braves were good.
Hey, it's
Atlanta
about winning
Braves,
series, man. You don't have to sweep every weekend. Win
I'll
2
take
out of 3.
them. The Braves took 2 of 3 from Kansas City over the weekend to start the season 2-1. Atlanta back in action tonight, hosting the 0-3 A's. 7:15. Bryce Elder on the mound. My gosh, it was fun this weekend. We'll talk about it at 5. But the walk-off grand slam, the shutout win, it felt good. First time in a long time it felt that good.
Considering that game, what was it, the Saturday night game where they hit the walk-off grand slam, was that close to being a ground ball, double play, game over, Braves lose.
Yep, I love it. You got to love it. Dom Smith, man, what a freaking story. Just unbelievable. Clemson baseball, we mentioned this, Diesel, in the last segment with Grayson. Man, Clemson finds themselves 19-10 on the season and 2-7 in ACC play after losing 2 of 3 to the Hurricanes over the weekend. Clemson back in action on Wednesday, taking on Wake Forest.
I thought they fixed all their problems from last season.
No, they didn't have many last year. They were really good. And this year, all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. I don't know. This team, this is the first time we've seen an Eric Bakich team look like this. And it's just kind of surprising. Not surprising. Monty Lee and the Gamecocks, they lost again this weekend, 13-16 rather on the season, 1-8 in the SEC after being swept by the number 7 Georgia Bulldogs over the weekend. Diesel, the Gamecocks back in action tomorrow, hosting the Wofford Terriers. 6:30 first pitch.
Let's go.
Clemson softball finds themselves 23-13 on the season, 6-6 in ACC play. Not a good weekend for Clemson softball, though. Swept by Florida State. This weekend, the Seminoles got them 3 games in a row. The Tigers back in action tomorrow versus Gardner-Webb. Ashley Chastain-Woodard, Diesel, and the Gamecocks, they are 22-14 on the season, 2-6 in the SEC.
Ouch.
Not a good start after splitting with Mississippi State over the weekend. Game 3 between the Gamecocks and Bulldogs tonight at 7 p.m. Brutal start for the Lady Gamecocks, man. The softball Gamecocks, not the basketball Gamecocks. Speaking of the basketball Gamecocks, Horned Frogs tonight. Dawn Staley, all she does in the postseason is win. A big one tonight for Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks against TCU. 9:09 tip, I believe, tonight between South Carolina and TCU. Landon Powell and North Greenville improved to 28-7 on the season from a sweep, a 3-game sweep this past weekend over Ferrum University. They're now 17-4, are the Trailblazers in conference play. North Greenville will host Lander tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Diesel, 36 years after the Christian Leitner hit a buzzer beater to beat UConn in the Elite Eight and send Duke to the Final Four, the Huskies got their revenge 36 years later, and it somehow came in more dramatic fashion. UConn freshman, remember the name, Braylon Mullins, who grew up just outside of Indianapolis, will return home looking for more magic after a crazy, wild ending. Stole the ball from an errant pass from Caden Boozer and ultimately knocked down a 3-pointer from 35 feet to go with 4.4 seconds.
You know, you got to love when the tournament presents situations like this. A homecoming opportunity for him. Like, you hear these stories like, how does this keep happening?
Unbelievable.
There's always a homecoming, or the kid that grew up 10 feet down the road from the campus and basically lived in their dormitories from the time he was, born until the time he's graduating college. How do these things keep happening? But they're great to hear these stories.
Huskies shocked Duke 73-72. Rick Pitino has signed a new deal with St. John's. The school confirmed Sunday, a sign of the parallel renaissances of the once more moribund program. My gosh, a lot of big words in this sentence we're doing here. And coach's career amid his journey back to the top of the sport. Diesel, I don't know why I put all that in the Daily Wires. That's not important. But what is important, the 73-year-old Rick Pitino has a new deal. We talked about that earlier in the show as well.
Him.
Yep, he deserves it. And last one, Shador Sanders switching back to his college jersey number 2 for the upcoming season. Wide receiver DeAndre Carter had worn number 2 for the Browns, but he is now a free agent.
You know, obviously he's going to play better, right, with number 2 on his chest. If it's the wrong number, it's like this burning sensation that you can't get off of your skin. You're wearing the wrong number. You can't figure out how to play. Up is down, left is right. Wide receivers are never open as they should be. Oh, now he's got the right number.
Yeah.
He can breathe. Everything is okay in Shedeur Sanders' world. When we come back, Cole, it is time for me, time for you, and time for the Tolos. That's the most important thing, to call in and gripe about something you saw this weekend in the sports world. Overreaction Monday is next. point collapse against UConn yesterday in the NCAA tournament. Second, we talked about all the coaching rumors and carousels and hirings and contract extensions that are going on, and they are numerous right now in college basketball. And at 3:45, we started our bracket of the 8 best fast food French fries that are available right here in the upstate of South Carolina. Matchup number 1, it's Bojangles versus Zaxby's. If you want to vote, text in 844-326-3663. Just text in the word Bojangles to vote for Bojangles and their Cajun seasoned fries, or text in the word Zaxby's to vote for the crinkle cut fries. Also, we had the Five Guys. Remember, you can always go back and catch anything you missed on the show, on the podcast over at thefanupstate.com and the free Odyssey. But it's time now, you Tolos, to get out your phones and dial 844-323. The Gamecock against Georgia. Now your series is
They're
used to it. Now your series is tied. You can't be giving up on your team. Like, you just got a new coach. You can't be giving up on them. You call in as well. It's time to overreact. I've got 1 call. You've got 2. So I'll let you go first.
Well, I've got 2. I might have 3. Just depends on how overreactive we get in Overreaction Monday, right? Because again, they sound outlandish. That's what we're reacting for now. Remember, don't shoot the messenger. That's the name of the segment. When the Atlanta Braves get some injuries to go their way, meaning they get some guys back, I think the Atlanta Braves, when it's all said and done this year, as long as they can keep their head above water, when it's all said and done, will be contending to make a run to the World Series.
Wow, that is an overreaction.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
For a weekend number 1 opening series win against the Royals.
Yes, we look good. I'm telling you, I am not upset anymore. I was upset all preseason.
You were upset all last year.
All last year, the whole season sucked. And guess what? All season, all we heard was injury this, injury that, Tommy this, that. It was just for another, it was just another one bites the dust. I mean, that's all it was. That's all it was. The whole offseason. Tommy John, broken leg, COVID. I mean, it just seemed like, anything that could go wrong was going to go wrong.
Jurickson Pro.
Jurickson Pro, he can't stay clean. And then the Atlanta Braves come out first series. And I know it's over, but players they do have on this team have to step up. They've got to step up. And the Atlanta Braves look good this weekend. So I'm just doing that I was singing this time last year, right? When they started off.
Oh, no, we suck again.
It's done. But the Braves starting pitching as of right now, even without all the guys they have missing, I think it's good enough to do this. I think it's good enough to keep the Braves head above water. I'm not saying they win the division. I hope they win the division. But I'm just saying I think this team is talented enough to win enough games as long as the players, Diesel, I say this all the time, the players that are getting paid the most money, they're getting paid the most money to do what? Perform, step up, be big time. This weekend they were Dom Smith, walk-off grand slam. Did anybody even know who Dom Smith was?
Never heard the name before.
By the way, rest in peace to Dom Smith's mom. She just passed from cancer like a few days ago. Horrible story.
Man.
He comes out Saturday night and hits that. I just can't imagine the emotions he was going through. Just having lost his mom. I mean, the Braves, the Braves fans at Truist Park are thinking, who's this guy?
How do you not feel like you have an angel on your shoulder? How do you not feel like your mom is there putting the bat in the right spot?
Angels in the outfield,
to get it
man.
over the field.
I'm telling you.
And like I was saying, that could have been there was a ground ball up the middle. I forget whose bat it came off of. Bounced the wrong direction, and just so happened to be that the shortstop was playing right behind second base. So that would have been an easy ground ball, double play. I think it would have been game over at the time. I don't remember the exact scenario, but the ball bounces
13 days after his mom passed. He hits a walk-off grand slam. And I tell you what, if that don't choke you, I mean, but on the baseball side, the Royals, I just think if this core can keep them in the hunt when they start getting these pieces back. Now, the key word is keeping them in the hunt. Keywords. It's all about coming together at the right time. We saw it in 2021. I'm not saying this is similar to 2021. I'm just saying you do keep your head above
now, because I texted you this over the weekend. Dewey owes Chris Sale an apology because Dewey had been bagging on Chris Sale big time, and saying he's old, he's washed up, he's never going to be a good pitcher in Major League Baseball again. And then he just comes in and shuts the Royals down in his first outing, 6 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, 0 earned runs, only 3 walks. So he's got a win and a 0.00 ERA. I mean, he's started out of the gate about as good as you possibly can. Who was it last week that we talked about? I think it was one of the Thursday games, or no, it was the Giants pitcher who gave up all those runs. Yeah, Logan Webb, really good pitcher.
Yeah.
He started out his season with like a 12 ERA. Chris Sale's got a 0. Where are you at, Dewey? Where are you at on that?
Yeah, where is Dewey, by the way? I've seen
here
him one time today in the chat.
He was here, and then he disappeared.
But the fact of the matter is they started out 6-0 Friday night. Not 6-0. They won 6-0 over the Royals. That gives you a lot of confidence. It's one game, but you said it. Yeah. Chris Sale was good. Only allowed 3 hits. Like, that's vintage Chris Sale innings and only allow 3. But the bats were also good. They had 11 hits Friday night. 11 hits. And look, you're not going to get that every night. You wish you could. But Eli White, the Greenville product, was good. Michael Harris, Austin Riley was 3 for 3. Matt Olson was good. I mean, he had a huge clutch hit. Acuna wasn't good. But guess what? It didn't matter. It didn't matter if Acuna's good when you have 11 hits and 8 different guys. It was a dream weekend. Yes, the Braves lost yesterday, but I will tell you this as I shut up about the Braves. I was all kidding aside. In all seriousness, last year sucked. The year before that wasn't great. It's been a long time since I felt as good as I did Saturday night. And my buddies who are Braves fans, we were all texting, it's 2 games, 3 games now. I know this is an overreaction, but it's just the first time in a long time the Braves, it made you feel good. You got 2 wins. You opened the season up on a good note. Let's go get a win tonight, be 3-1, and man, feelings are pretty high right now.
I mean, you even got to you can't feel terrible about the Sunday game that they lost. Yeah, they lost 4-1, Cole, but they still had 7 hits in the game.
Yeah,
they were still putting bat on the ball. Drake Baldwin, 2 hits in that game. Ozzie Albies, 2 hits in that game. Yastrzemski, 2 hits in that game. You know, Yastrzemski, a guy that you just brought in, he's coming in and playing really well right out of the gate. So you got to feel really good about that. But, you know, Cole, I do believe in the 1 in, 1 out, adage. And as Atlanta Braves baseball is back, feeling good, feeling real good about this team, the bubble has officially burst on the Charlotte's Cole.
No.
Yeah, it has. This is my overreaction on this Overreaction Monday, because even without Jaylen Brown for the Celtics, who played the Hornets this weekend, who averages 29 points a game, even without Jaylen Brown, the Celtics came into Charlotte and blew the doors off the Hornets last night, 114-99, a 15-point home loss. Jason Tatum was phenomenal. Peyton Pritchard was really, really good as well. As a 1-2 combo, those two by themselves basically shut this Hornets team down, and you just didn't have the prolific scoring across the lineup that you expect during this run of the Hornets. It's a home game, for crying out loud. You can't be getting beat by 15 at home. when you got this much talent on your team and you're playing this white hot. So I'm saying it, the bubble has burst.
I don't want it to happen. I don't want that to happen. I really don't. I am going to keep my fingers crossed on them. They're the 10 seed right now, right? And they're not going to fall to the 11. The Milwaukee's 11. Giannis is done. They've already, checked out. The Bulls are 12. They're done. They've already done. They're checked out as well. So the Hornets are going to make the play-in game. They might move up to 9. But I don't want that to happen. Celtics are a good team, though. Celtics are a
very good team. They're a very good team. But this Hornets team, I mean, I know it's not a one-to-one thing, but hey, that's my overreaction.
We'll be back Tuesday at Brooklyn. Bounce back. Brooklyn's horrible. So bounce back Tuesday. I was looking online. I was wanting to go to a game. They only have a few home games left, like 4 or 5 home games. Yeah. And the season's over.
And they're all midweek, and that's the hard thing.
Yep, all midweek. I think they'll bounce back, though. Right now, they're 39-36, Diesel. So, hey, winning, right? Still a winning record. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What if they could finish the season with a winning record? You wouldn't expect that. So, I hope you're wrong. I really do.
It's because they couldn't figure it out the first 25, 30 games of the season. They were all full for the first 30 games of the season.
Till the new year.
And then something switched. Con Knippel started draining threes left and right. And, call him the plumber because he's draining them.
They have a big one Thursday. They host Phoenix. That'll be tough. Devin Booker's playing well. Phoenix has been iffy on the road, so that's the good thing. Hornets are 500 at home. That'll be a big one. You return home. You've got Brooklyn Tuesday. You return home Thursday to host Phoenix. So we'll see if they can rebound. Jersey Joe on Overreaction Monday at 844-326-3663 says, Jersey Joe says that's not an overreaction about the Braves. That's a dream. Let's go Mets. Oh, well, here's the Mets fan talking trash, Diesel, about the Braves.
How come New Jersey doesn't even have a team? Joe, do you even get to be a baseball fan? You don't even have a team in your state.
We talked about the show with the Duke Blue Devil. I mean, you want to talk about choke jobs? If Duke choked last night, they learned how to choke by watching the Mets, Jersey Joe. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it's been relevant. I don't know. Come on. I don't want to hear it.
The Mets crumble down the stretch every time. So, you know what? Let's let Jersey Joe get his hopes up. The Mets, let him get out to the 8-10 game lead as they usually do. They always start out of the gate hot. They don't have enough stamina to get to the end of the season, and then they crumble over the last 40.
I'm looking to see when's the last time the Mets even won the World Series. Come on, Jersey Joe. I mean, when are you talking this trash? Let's pull out the record book here.
When's the last time the Cowboys won a playoff game?
2 years ago, I think. We're not talking about the Cowboys. See, now you're diverting the conversation. We're talking baseball here. We're not talking NFL. Dodgers past 2 years. The Rangers in 23. Astros 22. Braves. You hear that, Jersey Joe? Braves in 21. Braves in 21.
Wins 2 out of 3. Cole's full of piss and vinegar.
Why? I mean, this Mets. I mean, what is Mets garbage? I mean, where was this coming from? Well, Jersey Joe, answer the question. When's the last time the Mets won? I don't even know. I don't know. It's been a long time. The Mets. I don't want to hear it. Oh, my God. I hate the Mets. I really do. I hate the Mets. I don't like the Yankees, but I don't hate them as much as I do the Mets. Phillies, Mets, tack with them, right?
I lived in Brooklyn for a summer. I never once went to a Mets game.
Would that have been the old one or the new one?
I think they had just opened up the new stadium. Maybe
I've been once. It's nice. It's really nice. The new Mets stadium is nice. I've been one time. But it's not Truist Park nice. And maybe I'm biased, I still think Truist Park's one of the nicer ones.
I take that back. Citi Field opened in 2009. I lived there in 2006, so it would have been old Shea Stadium, but I didn't go.
Old one.
I didn't go.
I like it. And I'm not the stadium junkie that's been to all these stadiums, but I love the new Truist. Have you been to the new Brave Stadium?
Yeah, it's great.
Nice. It really
is. Great. Just know, Tolos, anybody planning on going to their first Braves game this year, if it's a day game, do not sit down the third base line because you will get roasted.
Yeah, better
sit
go
down
early in
the
the
first base line, catch you some shade.
Yeah,
it sucks on the third base line. I went to a game in like late May a couple years ago.
It was hot,
so hot down the left field line.
Braves games right now are pleasant. Not too hot yet. Feels good.
Team's not awful.
No, I mean, I love it. I'm going to have to buy me a ticket here, sir. I'm going to have to buy me a ticket. I don't know which one, but I might just do that. that. By the way, TCU, South Carolina, but South Carolina, TCU tonight. It is the, I want to say a 10-point spread. And let's see here. I'm looking now. I think South a lot, but maybe it's more than 10. It is the second game tonight is what I was getting at. Michigan, Texas, oh, God, I think that's going to be a good game. Michigan, Texas at 7 tonight on ESPN. Texas favored by 9.5. And then 9 o'clock tonight, TCU, South Carolina. Gamecocks favored by 14.5 points, and I think they cover the 14.5. I think South Carolina blows TCU out tonight in Sacramento. So some really good. I mean, that Michigan Texas game is going to be tough. Oh man, what about this tonight? If you're a Gamecock, what if Vic Schaefer loses and South Carolina wins? You get Texas, Vic Schaefer out, you advance. Be huge. I still think South Carolina will get beat by UConn in the Final Four. I'm losing to UConn.
Something in this tournament season because I am still game, not so much in the men's game.
Who'd you have? UConn, South Carolina. Did you have the Gamecocks beating UConn next time, which would be? Oh, yes. Wow. Yeah, you would.
Yes, not a homer pick here, but I'm also in trouble here, Cole, because in the Final Four, I had Notre Dame and being in it, and neither one of them is in this thing. And then I also had Duke LSU getting there.
And LSU lost the other night to Duke.
Yeah, I had LSU beating Duke.
We were at Rigsby's in Spartanburg, Diesel, and I wasn't following along the women's. I looked up and it said, there's Kim Mulkey, pitching a fit like she does. I couldn't believe it. So Duke was a right, I think it was. So they ended up losing, I think, 2 days later. But nonetheless, love seeing Kim Mulkey lose. But you know what? Good thing for Kim Mulkey. All those stars. Remember, whose mom was that? Was that Flage's mom?
Flage's
that said
mom.
That? They're winning in life. That's all that matters.
Just out of curiosity, the LSU women's team, the final game that they played in, that was the Duke game.
I think Malaysia did go off, by the way.
Flage score many points in that game.
I think Malaysia. That's all that matters.
Oh, she'll be top 20 pick. Score
29.
She scored 28 off 28. The bench.
See how?
Yeah,
that's tough.
Malaysia full of Wiley. Yep,
she was awesome.
Hey, your former Gamecock teammate outscoring you off my daughter's the best. She's gonna be the best. She's gonna be the 7th overall pick. Isn't she awesome?
UConn beat Notre Dame. UCLA beat Duke. So Duke's done. So you've got UConn waiting on tonight's dinner. All right, so this is the on South Carolina TU winner. Diesel UCLA waiting on the winner of Texas, Michigan. I think you're going to have UConn, South Carolina, which I picked. I think you're going to have Texas, UCLA, which I picked. I think you will then have UConn, Texas in the national championship, with UConn winning the national championship. You just talked about your bracket. My men's bracket's not bad. I don't have any red X's on here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't see red X's on this. I think the women was a little bit easier, though, wasn't it? A lot of the favorites.
A lot of chalk. A lot of chalk. You picked the favorites, you had a better chance of getting through this thing fairly unscathed. Not saying my bracket is picked by any means. I'm still I've got 78% correct picks. I'm in the top million.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many people submitted women's tournament brackets. So being in the top million
pretty good.
Might not mean a tremendous thing if it's only like 10 million submitted one.
Let's go to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. Last week on Twitter, Cocky for a Reason apologized to me for calling in right at the time for a break, and I had to cut him off, Diesel. And what does he do today? He calls in at 5:20:28. But you know what? We don't have a guest coming up, Cocky for a Reason, so I'll let it slide. What's on your mind?
Give Dawn her flowers, man. Y'all, watch y'all disrespecting the Lady Gamecocks.
Who?
Man. Y'all,
What do you want us to say?
Who's
Cocky,
disrespecting
for a
her?
reason?
y'all just said UConn was going to be in the Natty.
Yes, I picked no. I picked UConn over Carolina in the Final Four. Diesel picked South Carolina to win the national championship.
I just said they would win the whole thing.
I just got in the car.
Okay.
All I heard was Cole saying UConn nothing.
So you're calling in. So Cocky for a reason is calling in half cocked without all the information.
Yep. And you, let me ask you this:
True.
UConn, South Carolina, Final Four. Who are you picking?
It's the Lady Gamecocks all the way.
But you feel confident in that, Cocky, for a reason?
Yeah. What's your reason?
Okay. What my reasoning is, when Texas beat South Carolina in the SEC conference championship game, Dawn has got those girls focused.
Yeah, maybe so.
They've been blowing everybody. Oklahoma beat Carolina early in the season.
They did.
And they just ran right over them. Ran them over.
I just worry. Look, I agree with you, Cocky, for a reason. I think you're right. They're playing confident. Maybe that loss in the SEC championship focused them up a little bit, right? But UConn's not a team like you. It's a different animal. That's what worries me.
No. Well, who have they played?
It doesn't matter. They're the best team in America. They're the best team in America.
How are they the best team when they've only played two ranked teams all year long?
They have the best recruits.
Before the tournament, they've only played two ranked
Doesn't
teams.
matter.
Everybody else
Doesn't matter. They have the best recruits. They've got the best coach. They've got the best talent, the best stars. They're the best team. They have the best. I'm telling you, UConn, South Carolina has zero chance to beat UConn in the Final Four.
I'm going to push back on you. They don't have the best bench. They play 7.
Well, guess what? Carolina's too off the bench. You want to make a friendly wager on the Final Four?
You come to Eagles in Malden, and we'll put a little ribeye action on that.
I like it.
Wait a minute. Cocky reason. Are we next? I live in Malden.
I've been Malden. We might be.
Oh my goodness!
Never know.
If you take a little stroll down Ashmore Bridge Road and maybe a left and a right and a left and a right, you might come across.
Are you the guy that walks down Ashmore Bridge Road with his bathrobe open and his whiteies on? Is that you?
I'm gonna
just no comment. No comment. No comment.
I'm gonna plead the fifth.
Listen, you might be right. Maybe South Carolina's refocused, but I will tell you. Now, I am kind of kidding. I do think Carolina has a chance. I'm not that naive. I think any game they're coaching with Dawn Staley, they got a chance. Okay. But
so you're saying that Gino is a better coach than Dawn?
I think like you can. You know what I mean? How do you say Dawn's better than Gino?
He's been there 40 years.
I know. You're right. That's true. He has been. He's been there a long time. But he's done that, though, Cocky, for a reason. He sustained that at such a high level. That's impressive, right?
It is. Check his record against Dawn.
Don't know it to you. Don't know off the top of my head.
I think he's up 8-5.
Okay. Gotcha.
Well,
and that maybe you're right. Maybe they give. Let me tell you this. You might not know this. You might not know this, Cocky. I can tell you this. When they play in Final Four, I will be pulling for Carolina. I will be. But I just don't think they'll win.
No, I don't. No, Cole, I don't want that. You would give the Lady Gamecocks a bad emoji.
All right, fine. I tried.
I'm gonna bully you into changing your mind, Cole.
I tried. Cocky for a reason. Thanks for the call, man.
Love you guys.
You put on some pants, would you?
That's funny. That's a good call. Great call. Maybe the best of the day. Cocky for a reason. By the way, Gino is 10-5 against Dawn Staley, and Cocky's point there, like he's been coaching for a long time. 1-1 though in the postseason. How about that? 1-1 in the postseason. That's interesting. So we'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I love me some Don Staley. You know that, Diesel. I do. Yep. I pull forward, but Final Four, UConn, it's going to be a different beast, I think.
I mean, these two are the top two teams in the country year in and year out for a reason.
It'll be CTV though.
They got the money, they got the prestige, they got all the players. It's going to be a lot of fun when those two match up.
Can't wait. I do think it'll be must-see TV. All right, in the very next segment, Diesel, you and I are going to dive back into the Duke conversation for those that just got off of work, headed home on this Overreaction Monday. All this talk about UNC. All this talk about Hubert Davis failing. How about Duke? Since 2015, they hadn't won a national championship. But fire John Shire now, right? I'm not saying that. I'm kidding. But come on. Duke Blue Devils, they hadn't cut down the nets in 11 years. We'll talk about what happened last night. Ingram, Luke Kennard, Jason, Gary Trent Jr., Trevon Duval, Wendell Carter Jr., Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, Trey Jones, Mark Williams, Derek Lively, Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, Sion James, and Cameron Boozer. What do those names mean, Diesel? Why did I just open the segment reading all those names? Good players, right?
Yeah.
Really good players.
Bunch of
However,
losers, though.
Ooh, easy.
And by losers,
you might upset some Duke fans. You might upset some Duke fans on
Yeah.
that one. Those players I just named, Diesel, have not won a championship as a Duke Blue Devil. Duke has 0 goose egg NCAA titles or title game appearances since 2015, despite having all of those incredible players I just named off. Now, unfortunately, you bring this up a lot. We live in this sports era where it only matters if you win a championship, right? Duke's had super talented basketball teams. John Shire, Diesel, is a uber talented basketball coach. He's going to be a Duke as long as he wants to be a Duke. But just to hear those names out loud, doesn't it surprise you a little bit that for whatever reason, when it mattered, Duke just hasn't been able to get the job done?
Look, I know you can hyper focus on Duke, and you could certainly do the same thing for other teams that had stacked lineups that didn't go on to win national championships. But it's also just really fun to dunk on Duke.
It is
when they
is.
consistently do a phenomenal job of getting elite talent. And it's not as if, you know, they went through an era the way North Carolina did with Brad Daugherty and kind of trying to figure out who's going to be your head coach for a number of years and kind of slumping a little bit. Duke didn't really do that, right? They still had Coach K coaching at a high level all the way up until the point that he retired. And then John Shire steps right in and doesn't miss a beat. It is it's hilarious and unfathomable at the same time that those guys didn't bring a trophy back to Durham.
So last night, the play that we will all remember is the play at the end of the game where Duke could not get the ball into the front court, Diesel, and UConn steals the basketball, and we all know what happened after that. That's the play we'll remember. 15, 20 years from now, when you and I or whoever sits in these seats 15, 20 years from now are talking about Duke in 2026, they won't remember the 19-point lead that Duke gave up last night, right? Duke fans were critical of North Carolina for giving up a 19-point lead just not long ago against VCU. However, it was Duke last night that gave up that 19-point lead. You do win as a team. You do lose as a team. We have some audio coming up later where you'll hear John Shire say that. But ultimately, Diesel, with 10 seconds to go, you're up 2. You have the basketball. UConn's going to full court press. You've got the guys. You've got the coach. Where in that situation, you look back now, it's easy for us to say, but you've got to do something better than what you did last night, and that starts with protecting the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be as flamboyant. You can't be as loose as Duke was with a couple of those passes, especially that last one, which ended up being their last pass of the season. Duke had to do a better job right there in the final moments. They didn't. Ultimately, Diesel, they should have probably protected the ball and allowed UConn to foul, but that's not the way it turned out.
Yeah, it all comes down to situational awareness, right? Well, as I think it was John Shire who said it. He goes, we didn't lose because of that one play. Like, we lost because of all the plays that gave up a 19-point lead. That's the reason why we lost. Yeah, people are going to focus on the one play, but it was everything else that was a part of it. It's situational coaching. And look, he's still a young coach. A young guy's got a lot of years. I would be shocked, Cole, if we're not still sitting here being the head basketball coach at Duke, or maybe even 24 in Coach K. Certainly was a precedent setter for coaches staying at Duke for a long time. So this is a learning experience, right? Sometimes you got to learn things the hard way. And it doesn't always happen that the young coach comes in and finds that immediate success and starts winning titles, starts stacking chips year after year. You got to learn these things. And I think it's a good thing for a coach to have to learn these things the hard way.
You do. And there's going to be a lot of criticism toward Jon Scheyer and Duke. But ultimately, when you look at that situation, you look at that inbounds play, this is taught at a very young age. And we talked about this in the very first segment of the show, Diesel. When you inbound the basketball in high-pressure moments, sometimes anybody who's fundamental things that you know you're supposed to do sometimes go out the window. Like, for example, last night, Duke inbounding the basketball against the full court press. Well, Duke knows. Jon Scheyer knows. They've ran drills in practice. They've ran drills in high school and college. And when you're going up against the full court press, you have to catch and turn, catch and face, right? That's what you call it, catch and face defense, and protect the basketball while doing so. You don't ever want to make a pass before you catch and face, and Duke didn't do that last night. I didn't like the pass over the two defenders. I would have liked to see in that situation a pass, a pump fake right there, draw them off their feet like they did. You throw a sideways bounce pass between the out-of-bounds line and the defenders, and the game's over. However, it's the situational stuff, like you said, and Duke going down. The big picture, yes, they're going to be fine. Yes, Jon Scheyer is an amazing coach, but that's not how sports fans operate. And the fact that I read that list off of all of those players who just haven't been able to get it done, why is there so much talk about North Carolina and Hubert Davis? And I know Hubert Davis failed this season when you look at the talent he had. But why aren't we ever going to treat Duke equal when a team hadn't won a championship since 2015? Hubert Davis just got fired and didn't have Caleb Wilson for the last couple of weeks of the season. I just say, hey, I'm not saying fire. I'm not going to say it, but why not just have the same energy? If we're going to be so passionate and critical about North Carolina, why not be that critical about Duke?
Well, because they're measured, level-headed people in Durham, Cole. Now, imagine the Fire Shire T-shirts in Cameron when that, if it ever got to that point. I mean, come on, I don't think it ever will. It rhymes and it works. Yeah, it's not going to get to that point. Again, I think it's just a learning experience. You got to impart upon these guys what their job is in that situation. But at the same time, how do you coach out brain farts, right? Lack of in a particular moment. It's hard to coach that out. And, that also takes away a little bit of the good of UConn and what they were able to do, and to be able to produce a situation that got them in that spot. Now, they could miss, we'd be talking, oh, Duke, they persevered against UConn. No, you could say they still gave up a 17-point lead or a 16-point lead had they found a way to win that basketball game. I think the UConn guys deserve a tremendous amount of credit for what they did in that moment, creating that situation and finding that open guy, 35-footer.
Braylon Mullins,
excuse me. The fact that he hit that shot, I mean, that is stuff. I downplay those things either.
The shot from Braylon Mullins was just, if you did it 10 times, if you took the shot 10 times, you might make it once. Gutsy. Only had 10 points last. 7 points.
Hit a fall night.
No, only one. He was 1 of 5 after that shot. Obviously, you talked about it. 4 before that. Over. And the shot itself, the depth, how deep it was, Braylon Mullins deserves a ton of credit. That is a play that we will talk about forever. Now, Malik Brown last night, Duke, 0 points. Cameron Boozer was great, 27. Sarr, good, 10 points. I think he was the inbounder, if I'm not mistaken, on that play. Give you a lot last night. Only 7 points Diesel combined between the two.
Yeah, it's what a phenomenal night that was. And as a matter of fact, Cole, if you can hit the audio button for me there, turn this thing on, I'll play you the audio of what it sounded like, the final call This is the seal the ball game with 0.3 seconds on the clock.
Foster keys the inbound from the baseline. Long throw in, and it's knocked away. Batted away by Caravan. And the UConn Huskies storm the floor.
Oh, that's the final call. Excuse me. Let's go back and play that actual play here. Let's go to that.
72-70, Duke by 2. Sarr to key the inbound now. Full court pressure from UConn. Sarr gets it in to Cam Boozer. Boozer back to Sarr. Now ahead to Caden Boozer, and UConn got a steal. Caravan for Mullins. Long three. He got it. Oh, he got it. He hit it.
Good call.
Love it.
Not an Iron Eagle call.
Love it. No, it's good.
Iron
It's a good one,
Eagles
though. Before we go to the break, let's go to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. Kev wants to weigh in. I'm sure Kev, being a North Carolina Tar Heel fan, has a smile across his face, ear to ear. Right, Kev?
No, not really, man.
Oh!
This as a sports guy, man, and as seeing good play, like that was a heartbreaker, man. Like,
So you feel bad for Duke?
I don't. I feel bad for the players. Like I don't. I like just because I'm a sports guy, man. Like, don't get me wrong. And then there's been my boys that beat them like that. I would be jumping across the mountains. But I had my boys getting put out by VCU. So
when did you become a closeted Duke fan, Kev?
No.
The humanities side is
You're not
what
gonna
you're
pay me
saying. The humanities side, you feel bad for the kids, and I do too. I mean, I do. I hate seeing.
Dude that went to the free throw line late. He missed one of them, so he hit that free throw. We going to overtime anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So but that 3-point shot, man, by a freshman.
But Kev, does it not just blow your mind to hear me read all those names that haven't won a championship? I don't know if you heard me, but the names that have come through Duke since 2015 and haven't won a championship. I mean, Brandon Ingram, Jason Tatum. You're talking about some of the best players in the NBA. Con Knipple, Cooper Flagg, and they have not won that. What do you attribute that to?
Problem is they can only get most of them for 1 year.
Yeah, they get let's say like, I don't know how these boys' money look, but if my parents are straight and I'm good on money, I'm waiting on the NBA. I'll wait. I'm gonna have my fun in college, live college life, get this money and win 3 or 4 championships, then take it to the league. Especially the money that they're giving out now in NIL. Just stay 4 years and win you 4 championships and go on to the league.
Doesn't happen, does it?
It don't happen, but them boys, like, and that's what bothers me about my Tar Heels. Why can't we get any of these number one recruits? Like, that's why I really want to coach them. We got to find a better recruiter, and we got to start back getting back them boys that we used to get.
Who do you want? Who do you want, Kev? Who do you want as the coach?
Oh, I already told you. I want the guy from High Point.
That ain't happening. That ain't happening.
That's not happening. No. But I don't know. I don't know who. They talking about the guy from Arizona. I can see him coming.
He's already told you no, too.
He said no, too?
Yeah, he said no last week.
Publicly, yeah.
Publicly, he said no.
Hey, I guess it'd be one of us 3 or Dewey.
Oh!
Not exactly the brain trust.
Man, that'd be tough, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Cav, you're the man.
Right,
Appreciate the phone call.
Hi, folks.
Yeah, man. You're the best. 844-326-3663.
When we come back, Cole, it is time to hit the other 2 Elite 8 matchups in our best French fries bracket. Your favorite upstate available fast food French fries, part 2 of the Elite 8 round next.
Bunch of fancy cars.
Unfiltered sports in San Antonio.
what's the first thing you do? You're probably not even out of the drive-through line yet. You reach into the bag and you pull out that first hot, crispy, delicious French fry.
Yep.
And we are right now on this show, Cole, trying to do the other two matchups. We've already done two, the 3-6 matchup, Bojangles versus Zaxby's and Five Guys versus Arby's. Now it's time, Cole, to reach the big dogs here, the big matchups that I know we're going to get the Tolos texting in at 844-326-3663, the 1-8 matchup and the 2-7 matchup. Remember, all of these matchups and the champions, so to speak, for different styles of French fries were chosen by you, the Tolos, on Friday of last week. So if you don't like the entrance, that's your fault for not being a part of the selection process, Cole. But here we are. Let's go to the, would you rather do the 1-8 or the 2-7 first?
2-7.
The 2-7 matchup.
That's easy.
And some might say this number 2 should be a 1 seed, but it's very hard to unseat the 1 seed. This is the 2-7 matchup, the Chick-fil-A waffle fry, which when done right is nigh unbeatable. They're delicious. I don't like the ones that have the little at the edge of the potato on them.
Oh,
They're
that's
too
my
thick.
favorite. I love
and
those.
they don't crisp up correctly,
They dip
in my
good, though.
opinion.
They dip good in the sauce.
They do.
Oh, so good.
But we're just debating the French fry, not the sauce.
No, I'm not debating the sauce. I'm saying
they're
I like
going-
the fries because it's more solid.
They are going head-to-head, Cole, with the Taco Bell nacho fries. Now, I didn't want to put Taco Bell in this thing. I was going to put Checkers in this thing, but y'all said Taco Bell nacho fries were better, and they had to go in this slot. So Chick-fil-A waffle fries versus Taco Bell nacho fries. What do you got, Tolos? Which one is better? I've never had a Taco Bell nacho fry. I'm not going to lie, but I've had a lot of waffle fries.
What are we doing here? This Tolos, y'all are crazy for even putting this one in there. But you know what? You did. This one will not even be close.
Taco Bell shouldn't even have French fries.
No.
What are they doing?
No,
What are
this
they
one won't be
doing over at
close.
Taco Bell? Pretty soon they're going to have spaghetti. They're going to put some nacho cheese on top of it, and y'all are going to say, "Oh, isn't Taco Bell spaghetti so good?" It's not.
I have to admit, though, I hadn't had one, so I can't critique it. I've never had a Taco Bell fry, but I cannot pick over Chick-fil-A. I'll try.
No. You try a Taco Bell fry?
Yeah, of course.
A nacho fry. See, the thing is, I think the Taco Bell nacho fry at its core is very similar to the Checkers fry. It's still a battered fried French fry. And that's the key thing here. It's battered. It's got a little extra texture to it.
Yeah.
Whereas nobody else on this list has that, but it has the nacho seasoning on it. So text in 844-FAN-PHONE. You can also hit us up on Twitter at the Fan Upstate and vote in the poll. Now here we go, Cole, over to the number 1 seed versus the number 8 seed. And this one is the McDonald's classic French fry. You know, that medium thickness, crispy, straight
Shoestring.
McDonald's French fry. Well, it's not quite a shoestring. There are skinnier fries.
That's what they call them, though.
No, the shoestring. Shoestrings is different.
Oh.
It's different, but it's a little thicker than a shoestring, but it looks like a shoestring, versus the KFC potato wedge, which also, when done correctly, the KFC potato wedge is insanely good.
It's good.
It's insanely good. But is it McDonald's French fry, though?
Nope.
It is not even close. Nope. Here's the thing, though. McDonald's French fry fall. That is something that is earning. The Tolo McDonald's is KFC. Text in Chick-fil-A waffle fry versus the Taco Bell nacho fry. And that, once we get those two and the results at the end of the show today, those two will reach the final four to face Bojangles versus Zaxby's and Five Guys versus Arby's.
We've got a lot of audio to get to. Our audio blitz coming up next to us.
2-2. Called strike 3. Tap the helmet again.
Number 4 of the show with the Gino Suarez, who in that audio you heard right there, the ump tried to ring him up not once but twice, and both calls were overturned. I think I am the biggest ABS. This is the greatest thing that's happened to baseball since sliced bread diesel. You know, umpires used to be big, bad umps. We tell you a strike on it, not anymore. That's for ball 4.
That's phenomenal. And, you know, as this ABS continues to work its way into the game, I hope that it makes umpires better, because they don't,
hopefully
they're not going to want to be shown up by players every pitch. You know, it's you have to think that, okay, this computer system is accurate because it's showing me what's not a strike.
You would think. I hope they get better. Am I confident? I don't know. He was so confident. He took ball 4, started walking. The umpire.
This is what they see inside T-Mobile Park. ABS.
That quick. Was already down almost to first base. Like, he was so confident with the knee, took ball 4. He didn't even stop, hesitate, took his padlock, threw him off to the side, and while he was jogging the first base, he goes double tap, and time he gets, he's right. The umpire's wrong. That got to be a little bit of a pride.
Andy, every rose has its thorn, Arena.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been thinking about that one for a second.
I love it. I think you have to look at this as helping the game get better as a product. A lot of people want, umpires to have a say. I don't know why, but so when you look at these, just week baseball, in my opinion, I am a big, big fan. You played a clip of audio last week. It was a student radio call. I've got one this week. A little student radio. I love that, right? This one was last night. Fully imagine this was what it was associated with. You played a couple of minutes ago, and I do. Here's the student radio call. This is pretty good, though. Your thoughts? It's going to take a minute to load. Our internet. I don't know what's been going on our internet today. We had to cut Jason Man off of the stream. I've emailed engineering and told them that, hey, the internet is runs today. Y'all need to fix. I didn't say that. Get mad like that, but
unplug it, plug it back in.
So I guess it's more than that, right? I mean, if I go to Google Diesel in 35 days, did we pay our internet bill this month? Did we have Spectrum? I think we have Spectrum, right?
We lost internet at that. I didn't get most of the Saturday games. I watched them on my phone because somebody laying fresh in the yard, dug down fresh lines.
Whole neighborhood
has lost our internet connection, and so had to watch the Saturday games on my phone. It's like the worst possible time. And then today they sent out this big, he looked like right out of the military, just jacked as hell, about 6'3", and it's like, I'm here to investigate why the line got nicked.
Well, it happens, and maybe ours got nicked as well. The stream's cutting out on me right now, our internet today. I don't know what it is, but here's the UConn student radio call, maybe if the internet works.
We'll get it to Boozer. He does. Back to Sar. Duke running clock. Caden Boozer. It's tipped. Man. Mullins for the win. Oh my goodness. 0.3 clock.
That's for the man. I love the emotion.
Who did it better, him or Westwood One National?
Boozer back to Sar. Now ahead to Caden Boozer. And UConn got a steal. Caravan for Mullins. Long three. He got it. Oh, he got it. He hit it. He
Poor
hit
polished.
the three-pointer from the logo.
That both were really good. I'm going to side with students.
The biggest difference, Cole, is how dang good that national professional microphone setup is. You can scream into the microphone, and it not overmodulated.
I don't know. Oh, I wish we had them like that. The Duke radio got happy.
For Sean Caden. 7 seconds. Drop the one. Kinetic. 2 seconds. And Mullins up top for the win. Technical. But with 3/10 of a second to go, Connecticut has the lead 73 to 72.
Threw a tech on them, and they hit the free throws to win the game.
Meanwhile, Duke Radio wanted it. Duke Radio wanted it. Caden Boozer said it. Hey, I cost my team. Now, Kevin talked about this a minute ago when he called in. This is hard to listen to. You've heard this. I've heard this. The humanity side of us, the human like hear this, but it's sports, right? Here's Caden Boozer. Post game, by the way. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe. I mean, I've lost my stream over here. I'm going to just keep bashing the internet.
You're using too much bandwidth.
I guess so. You can't have an audio blitz. None of the internet works. Caden Boozer on his turnover at the end of the game.
Should have been strong with the ball. That would cost our team our season. I'm sticking with our guys no matter what, and we had a chance to win regardless of what happened in the second half. And it's a tough game.
To hear that and to think that the entire season now lives on the shoulders of Caden Boozer, I hate it for him. I'm not a Duke fan, but that's just
okay, I'm going to ask Caden to pass him the potatoes. I wouldn't.
Don't pass him too high.
I wouldn't. I mean, what if there's another little brother or little sister in the family who's got a great sense of humor that just reaches out?
Diesel, because that is a player that you will never, doesn't matter, 90, 100, you'll never be able to unlive that play. And Jay Williams talked about it. He has plays like that. You'll never be able to forget about it. That play will live with him forever. John Shire post-game reacting to the heartbreak loss to UConn. A lot of John Shire audio and Diesel. You know, when a loss like this as a head coach, the last thing you want to do is talk to the media. I mean, that's the very last thing. You have to talk to Tracy Wolfson, and you have to go in the locker room, come back.
Have the words. I don't have the words. What each individual player went through just to play the game. I've never seen anything like it. This is on us. We're going to be in this together. And the year that this guy's had has been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I don't have words how disappointed we are.
It will ever be back to a moment like this. But I think for Duke, if you are a Duke fan, the good thing about today is you know that with John Shire leading your program, you'll be back to this situation. You'll be back to the Sweet 16. You'll be back to the Elite 8.
Yeah.
You're not guaranteed it.
Well, that's the problem with where we are, because nobody sticks around in college basketball long enough to learn from this mistake and learn from this experience, because they either all transfer away or they go into the transfer portal. Now, Duke has been a little bit better than most at being able to hang on to as long. Used to be one and done. You go to just go get more playing time. I have no doubt. You talked about earlier all the different Duke players that have come and gone through this program and not won a championship. I have no doubt that if Cooper Flagg is on this team, they're cutting down the nets, right? And he left as a freshman. Yeah, imagine Cooper, Con, and Cam together on one court. They would be nigh unstoppable. So, but you don't get that anymore, right?
No.
You don't get a study. You don't. Fortunately, with John, you're probably dealing with a mostly new team or a mostly underexperienced team next year. It's like almost doing it all over again.
Can you imagine if Cooper Flagg came back? How good that team? I mean, that team.
I mean, now anybody can come back. So why don't you
Yeah,
sue? It's not going so well
he
for you in
can
the
still
NBA.
come back, is what you're saying. Oh, come on. Don't be hard on him. He's played good. Had a good year. What about the Indiana kids sending the team to Indianapolis? You mentioned this earlier in the show. How we always get really cool stories. The hometown kid sending his team back. And I mean, quick on the spot in the post game, Duke's locker room, we know how that was. Indiana or UConn's locker room, rather not so much.
For some reason, I just had that gut instinct to pass it to him. And I think I looked at the rim and I saw we had like 5 seconds left. So I was like, maybe something better could develop. So I think I had Boozer, Campbell. Like that really might go in. And, I went in and the Indiana kids sending us to Indianapolis. So,
the Indiana kid is sending us to Indianapolis. What a freaking quote off the rip. I mean, he had to have thought about that, right? Yeah,
good stuff.
Had that in his back pocket. I mean, come on. Indiana kid sending us to Indianapolis. Saturday's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, the Final Four, National Championship Diesel 1 week from today. We're not spending any time today talking about Saturday's games, but we will as the week goes on. We have 4 full days to talk about it. Here was John Shire immediately with Tracy Wolfson.
To allow them to come back and ultimately get that shot off at the end there.
Like, I don't have the words for you. All I know is these guys don't deserve that ending. No one deserve this ending. And I don't have the words for you.
What did you?
I've never been in a locker room like that before. With that kind of game, and these guys, you're literally is literally they've taken us. What they've done this season has been incredible.
What do you say if you're head coach after a game like that? I mean, seriously, think about that. If you're the head coach and you walk in that locker room, what do you say? I think he's right. I don't know if they have the words to say, do you?
Cam, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, Cam,
what are you doing? You're off the team.
What's your NIL valuation?
cut it by half.
Oh,
if you want to stay
man.
on my team, you're going to make half next year.
Here's Braylon Mullins on the game winner.
What feel? How did it happen?
Man, it's just, I mean, yeah, it's still a loss of words, still processing all like what just happened. But I mean, I think that last possession, it was just deflecting the pass to the other end of the floor, and it's just I had the ball, and I know AK had just hit one.
Didn't have the words, Diesel, or the losing coach rather didn't have the words. The winning player didn't have the words. And you mentioned in this audio earlier, what was the statistic? I think UConn in the first half shot the ball for one of 19, I think.
They missed 7 of their first, or excuse me, 17 of their first 18 3-pointers. 1 for 18 at a point.
And here's that audio, Dan Hurley. I don't know that Dan Hurley knew what he heard. 1 of 18, like you said. That was in the first half from 3-point land. And this is some pretty good audio. I didn't realize it watching the game. I knew they shot the ball bad. I knew they were poor, right? But 1 of 18, I don't think anybody realized they were that bad. Here's the audio from Dan Hurley.
Started 1 of 18 from 3-point range, finished 4 for 5, and hit the game winner from 3.
Coaches, and no one would tell me what it was. I knew it was bad.
How bad it was. Is that bad? I mean, is that a fireable offense? Coach, ask you what your shooting percentage is from 3?
Coach, I don't know. I don't have the stats nearby. Go ask my other brother.
I've lost the paper.
I left him in my other pants.
I can't read my own writing. I can't read the iPad. I don't know. That is really good audio. Here's Caden Boozer, last piece of audio for you.
I turned the ball over. Should have been strong with the ball. Cost our team our season.
What did Coach Shire say before?
That's easier. I mean, that's it in a nutshell, Diesel.
Yeah.
They knew they were going to trap, and they weren't smart with the bat. It's easier said than done, though. It is.
Yeah. I mean, these guys, they train on this. They work on this. Yeah. And then in the moment, he just had a brain fart.
They did.
He screwed up. He it happens.
Sports, man.
It's tough.
It's sports.
Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. When we come back, Cole, let's talk about the spring game at Clemson. Who won, by the way?
Clemson.
Yeah.
Orange.
Orange blew out the white team, whatever that means. We'll talk about what our guest, Grayson Mann of TigerNet.com, what did he see in the spring game? That's next.